Alright, cool. Let's go. Yippee! I'm honestly not expecting anything particularly mind-blowing. I'm expecting a remake. If it is more than a remake, I will be slightly confused, if anything. Obviously, I wouldn't be upset. I'm not going to fucking flip my shit, but I was under the assumption that it was like, oh, we're just doing this again. Which I was, you know, personally, I was perfectly fine with. If I remember correctly, though, Kazu was right. Kazu, who was on Twitter, was right in pointing out how this game tends to have an issue with scores, in that they're just not high enough for the game that it is. Whether or not that's still the case or they adjusted it, don't know. I would imagine they probably adjusted it for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I don't know if they would have changed it for the later ones. This one is just you need to go over this side and just, like, dunk him, right? Yeah, my ass remembers this shit vaguely. Absolutely massive. I feel an absolutely massive amount of, like, sin for what I'm doing. I'm sat here playing a game 3 days early because of what? Greed? Because I, as a loathsome little man, couldn't hold myself back and just wait an extra 3 days. I think it's really weird that, like, and what's it called did this as well. Rematch did this as well. I think it's really odd that right now deluxe editions are, like, selling themselves on early access to a game. It's like, doesn't that mean we're just playing the same game? In which case we haven't really paid for anything. We've paid for convenience, I guess. I mainly want to try and just, like, 100% everything before moving on, just because with a game like this, there's not really much point to going back and doing one isolated mission by itself, because most of the time, one mission by itself just means that you're doing really boring, kind of repetitive shit. Well, not, like, repetitive shit, it just doesn't, like, flow very well once you've only got one mission to do, right? It's your usual FOMO marketing nonsense, unfortunately. Yeah, it's true, it's true. I mean, I'd prefer that over they decide to make Tony ride around a racetrack and also Tony Hawk as a horse. And there's gacha mechanics, you know? It's a not-so-subtle shot, little gacha game that everyone likes at the moment. It's called Street Fighter 6. It's called Tekken 8? Question mark? Me implying that a fighting game is random because I am an intellectual. I am. I don't understand. Well, okay, I do literally understand, but I don't resonate with the idea that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and SSX, all of the extreme sports games from this, like, era, needed to, like, gate statistical improvement before you could, like, play the game proper. It drives me absolutely bonkers. It's the same thing in SSX as well. Like, they make it so that the best point of the game is, like, coming extremely late into it, but it also means your first impression is your character is ridiculously sluggish and you can't really go anywhere. Me, at this time, yep. The plan today is basically just to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I told myself, like, when it came out, it was like, well, I'm just gonna, let's be honest. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna think, God, I wish I was kick-flipping my way through a score right now, not realizing that before I can do that, I need to play a video game that is okay. I was gonna ask what you guys are doing, and then I realized the answer is pretty obvious. It's like, it is 12 PM on a Tuesday. Chances are you're either at work, or you're on break, or you're looking for work. There's very little middle ground when it comes to, like, what happens in the middle of the day. And yet somehow, even in spite of that, it's like, oh, how do some people struggle to relate to other people, including me? It's crazy to think that me and, like, when I was working at McDonald's specifically, me and 150 other people could all have the exact same job, but the moment that the conversation turned off of, like, hamburgers and which customers we hated the most, it would immediately, like, stand still, because it was like, oh, I haven't watched, like, Game of Thrones or any of the new shit that was coming out at the time. Doesn't make any sense. I must have spent 1,000 hours with these people, and I learned maybe, I don't know, like 2 facts about each of them, and most of the time it was like, yeah, they just love weed. Which I think, okay, now that I'm running it back in my head, I'm like, that's a social failing of myself. It's 8 a.m. here in Sao Paulo. Sheesh. Welcome to the 8 a.m. stream. That means you've got plenty of time to play Guilty Gear and think, wow, isn't it fucking stupid that they decided to make the main draw of the early access of the deluxe edition early access. What kind of fucking moron would buy into that? Leon the 12 video and Tony Hawk YouTuber guy. I mean, I was thinking that earlier. I was like, half the videos that I want to make at the moment are about like extreme sports titles. And that's not a bad thing, but it does mean that it's like, I might be pigeonholing myself again. But I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I definitely tend to get like a bit of decision paralysis, which is really stupid to say as a man who makes like one decision every single week. But I'm constantly, like, worried about the things that I put out, despite putting absolutely nothing out, basically. Purely in the case of, like, what if it's too similar to the last thing? Not realizing that me, a man who is worrying if things are too similar, is simultaneously thinking this while watching the latest Clint Stevens and Atrioc video. And it's like, brother, you are the target demographic. You are fine with things being similar. In fact, if things are too different, you go, I can't really be fucked for this. Clint Stevens plays a different game than Mario 64, and your brain goes, no, I'll be doing that. Hyperfixations are crazy. I don't think it's necessarily hyperfixation, though. Because I do definitely know, like, I can tell you when I'm hyperfixated on something. Like, when I'm just like, nope, I'm listening to the same song for at least a week, that's a hyperfixation. Because a new song comes on, and I'm like, what if it was the new fucking, I don't know, Faye Webster song? Is it Faye Webster? I don't remember her name. But this is more a case of me going, oh, I don't want people to only think that I can talk about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I could talk about, and then I run it through my head several hundred times. I could talk about, books. Me not realizing that the only books that I've read recently are, like, Murakami books, which aren't exactly the greatest perspective. I've been rethinking what I think of Norwegian Wood a lot lately. I think I've come to the realization that despite the fact that I gave it, I think a 4 out of 10, no, not 4 out of 10, sorry, 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, Norwegian Wood might be like a 4 out of 10 instead of a 4 out of 5. It's... I keep running back the plot in my head and I'm like, this is terrible. The main character meets a woman and immediately, like, if he's not trying to have sex with her, Murakami is like, and now there's sexual tension. It's like, this is just TikTok vampire smut, but for people in Japan in, like, 1985. Like, that doesn't mean that it's good. It was just smut in Japan, which, to be fair, like, given my track record, it is a bit. I am a bit thing Japan, if I'm being completely honest. Like, if there was one level from this game that I could make a little bit better, it would be Tokyo. Reason being is that it would be like, oh, but it's Tokyo, though. I love Tokyo. Sugoi. Man who has never been to Japan loves Japan, as usual, if you will. Leon, let's talk about Drive Impact. Leon, let's not. Am I supposed to destroy the snowmans? I've forgotten what I'm supposed to do in this stage. Collect skate, nose grind around the horn, get Chuck unstuck, bury the bully. What is this Mario 64 naming convention? I don't know what this means on, like, on a brief glance. Higashino Keigo is pretty fun to read. I'll put that on my... I'll put him in my, like, authors to have a look at list. It's a bit sloppy once you chug in more than 5 of his books, but the twists are fun. Oh, okay. White man Wakanda statement is so true for Japan. Incomprehensible sentence. Even for me, a man 400 feet deep in the internet rabbit hole, I have no idea what you just said. But I respect you for it. Nothing but respect for a fellow mind-poisoned goblin. I'm assuming impress the skaters is just, you know, go up to the guys. I don't know why I'm wondering. I've played this game before. Not this one, obviously. I've played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 before. I remember this. In the words of Squidgame, relevant topic for all you Zoomers who are on Twitch, and so chances are you haven't seen it. I've played these games before. I haven't seen Squidgame. I have no interest in Squid Game, if I'm being completely honest. I think I've just lost interest in TV in general, because even when it comes to, like, Japanese TV, sugoi, wow. I'm just like, if it's more than 3 hours, I'm out. And I guess this goes for more than just TV, to be fair. There was a film that I was curious about called, like, There's like the elephant is standing or some shit. I can't remember what it's called. It was like a 4-hour film from somewhere in Asia. I want to say it was Korean, but I can't tell off the top of my head. But the moment I have to commit more than like an hour to something, I'm kind of just out. I saw a post saying that Japan is white man's Wakanda forever. I mean, I'll give you that. It's kind of true. Squid Games was kind of mid. Do you think that Squid Games was kind of mid because it was popular? And I don't mean that in the sense of like contrarianism. I hate things that are considered good. More in the sense of like, were your expectations blown up to the point where it kind of sucked ass? Because I think that's the case with Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 is a great game, but it's also Dark Souls 2. It has to compete with Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls. Are you like a guy who wants to be impressed? This is one of the problems with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. They'll give you little objectives, but it's like the objective is very indescript in terms of this does not stand out from the rest of the environment. You remember like Ollie over the magic bum in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2? If you weren't like paying attention to the little objective list, there would be no way that you would know that that's a thing that you're supposed to do. I fucking hate that mission. It's fucking stupid. It sucks. It's not fun. I thought it would be grander. Well, that's the thing. If Squid Games was any like grander, it would be fucking pantomime. Like, I'm assuming that that has impressed the skater. I don't have to drop the combo in front of them. Oh, they're probably all in the skate park. Because they're skaters. Whoa. Me, when I use my level design degree that I got from No Fuck University, figure out the objective in a video game. PS1 design era. It's kind of true. I was playing a bunch of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater-like games that Activision released. So like Matt Hoffman's BMX and Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder, whatever the fuck it is. And they all like take the exact same like design. Even the like surfing game tries to be the like Tony Hawk's design, not realizing maybe this like only works here and doesn't even work very well. I really thought this was gonna be Deltarune. I don't know how to tell you this, but Framped, or whatever the fuck their name is definitely a unlockable character. Stick around on stream and you'll see them soon. Whoopee! You too will be able to see the thing that you like and point and clap the way that I do. It might have felt like I was taking a jab at you, but you need to remember, every time I take a jab at you, it's also taking a jab at myself. I actually don't care about Deltarune. Well, you might have tried to play the mix-up, but you're also wrong about that. Deltarune's kinda based. I haven't played it beyond the first chapter. I thought it was pretty good. Me, a man who hasn't played the video game, I think it's pretty good. Me, a man who also hasn't played the video game, I think it's kind of bad. We are both equally valid within the IGN forum. True unity has been achieved. We can all be wrong in different vectors and held unaccountable the same way. You should care about Deltarune. It cured my cancer. That's actually what all of the doctors don't want you to know about this one secret posts are on the internet. They're not lying. Doctors don't want you to know about this one secret. It's called Deltarune. All of those advertisements are posted by Toby Fox. It grew my hair back. Dude, my hair is growing back too fast. I find it extremely inconvenient to be like a bald man by choice, but I'm also too scared to even investigate the proposition of like lasering off my hair. I'm blessed with like a mix-up that I get to choose between hair and no hair, but I feel like every time I choose no hair, I'm like slowly making it more inconvenient for myself. Because I stopped growing out my hair because like, one, I didn't like any of the barbers near me, and two, I wanted to like kind of look like my dad and my brother. But now I'm starting to realize it's more inconvenient to have to shave my head every single 3 days instead of going and talking to the mildly racist hairdresser. And they are mildly racist every time. I don't get it. But that's them living their lives. I'm not going to say it's their best lives because it's clearly not. That's them living their lives. They're straight up the same games. This is the same game. It kind of, well, it doesn't blow me away. I was about to say it blows me away. It kind of strikes me as a little odd that they didn't bring back getting off your board. Because one of the biggest problems in Tony Hawk that they've always had Well, not always had. I guess they had it after Underground. Before Underground, rather. Is if you, like, accidentally stall your combo, like here, I'm going incredibly slowly, and it's really boring to not really, like, have any choices. But if you allow the player to get off their board, they can just, like, redirect their momentum if it ever, like, starts going wrong. But they only have a limited amount of times to do that. And it's cool. It's good. It makes the game good. And yet, for some reason, they've not brought it back yet. This is the one thing that I would want. Please. I don't want the parkour back. I don't want the spray in the sidewalk with graffiti back. But I do want the ability to just go, look, this combo has stalled out. Let's just go somewhere the fuck else. I guess some gamers see it as unfair. You're talking about getting off of the board? I highly doubt. Mildly racist towards the English based in it? No, no, no. This was always like, it would always be like, the small boats, there's too many small boats. I can't tell you how many small boats there are, and how many people are coming into the country, or where the people come from, but there's too many small boats. They're ruining England, and it's like, brother, both you and I are uninformed about this topic. Like, just stop projecting so fucking hard. Skylanders? They're not doing Skylanders. What? I'm not talking about imports. I do think it's a little bit weird that people describe Blue Sky as a bit of an echo chamber, and, like, maybe it is a little bit, but, like, what do you think the forums of, like, Halo were? They were just echo chambers, just more specific to the games that the games that people like. I'm just saying the few people that are like, I want forums back, and also I don't want an echo chamber, maybe I haven't thought it through the whole way. Does it really feel like the new Tony Hawk game released without the weekend off and your friend coming over to hang out? I mean, as a man whose friends were a bit more into, well, it wouldn't have been Call of Duty around this time. What would it have been around this time? This time it would have been, like, FIFA and football, and also they were, like, only single digits in age. So, to me, the answer is, unfortunately, like, this is exactly what it was like for me. I would skip a day of school, which is now skipping a day of work, which is now pretending that I have a job, and playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for maybe, I don't know, at least 6 hours, maybe even 10. Fuck-ass Suburbia. I fucking hate Suburbia. I think Suburbia might be one of my least favorite Tony Hawk's Pro Skater levels. I think, like, this and this downhill, I think it's just this and downhill, which is crazy because, like, downhill, a part of me hates conceptually, but then you look at levels like Airport, and you look at Mall in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, and it's like, holy shit. These, like, straight line levels can be kind of based. The problem is, downhill just kind of fucking blows, because it's one big downhill. I don't think we complain about Venice Beach enough. No, I just disagree with you there. Okay, Venice Beach as a level, I agree with you. Like, in terms of all of the objectives that are inside of it as well, 100%, I'll give it to you. But Venice Beach as, like, a thing to high score, strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. I do think that it lacks walls, which might even be my problem with, like, this level specifically. I don't think it has enough walls, so you don't have enough opportunities to, like, get, like, wallies off. But I still think that it's a good level. Do you have a favorite Bionicle? You're looking for Big Yellow. Big Yellow's stream will be on at some point in Swedish time. I managed to, like, avoid the whole Bionicles thing when I was younger. I don't think it was because I avoided it. I think it was just because my parents were too poor. It's like, ah, fuck. Like, I remember one of, like, my birthdays, I randomly got, like, a black Power Ranger. And I was like, I don't even know what Power Rangers are, bro. Like, because it was just like, oh, like, we don't have the cable package that lets you watch Power Rangers. And so I was like, I guess, like, there's a cool little Action Man or whatever the fuck. We got the movie on VHS. There was a movie? I mean, to be fair, isn't Power Rangers like a... Oh, Jesus Christ. Like a multi-generational, ongoing franchise still, somehow? Big Yellow is awesome, but I find the opinions of casual fans interesting. I have bad news. I don't think there's many casual fans left. In the same way that, like, there are casual fans of Melee, there aren't really casual fans of Melee. Because, like, even the most casual fan of Melee or Bionicles at this point probably have a relatively in-depth level of knowledge compared to what they should have had to begin with, you know? I think if I remember correctly, I need to help him to get into the building to then get the secret. I don't know where the axe is. Well, oh, it's probably around all of the woodwork. Environmental storytelling. Miyazaki could never. I am, of course, just fucking with you. I'm sure Miyazaki could do environmental storytelling if he really wanted to. But he never has, and he never will. Oh, there it is. Oh, more so you want people who were into it as kids. Yeah, no idea. Unfortunately, we're in two different conversational parallels. Much like how there are two parties for every single person, me and you are spiritually aligned at different parties. And one day maybe we'll be at the same intersectional party, but today is not the day, it seems. I don't know what I just said. I'm running back the sentence in my head, and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Bro is literally yapping his damn head off. Well, not literally. Chat, what do you think the most you've ever injured another person is? I think I can vaguely remember mine, because it happened when I was really young. This isn't like, oh, I saw a guy in the street and I just started fucking beating his ass. No, it's, I want to say about 7. We were playing darts on a, you know, outside. Parents were a little bit drunk, and they also had friends over, and someone hands me one of the darts. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, and also, I'm incredibly nervous because I'm a 7-year-old around a bunch of drunk people. And he just starts waving his hand in front of the board, like, just to say, like, you want to aim for here. You want to aim for here, son, don't you, son? And I'm like, I'm not your son. I don't even know you. You're my parents' friends. I don't know who the fuck you are. But he pulls his hand away, and so I'm like, well, I guess I'm supposed to aim for there. And then, obviously, the man's blasted, and he sees that I haven't thrown my dart yet, so he runs his hand back in front of the dartboard as if to say, "Here, son, go on, aim here." But I'm midway through my throw, and the one time in my life that I've ever been halfway decent at throwing a dart, which to be fair isn't many times because, you know, it's not very often that you throw darts as a gamer. I throw my dart, it's actually like a perfect shot, and it goes directly into the palm of his hand. We call the ambulance, I think, and then I go upstairs, and I think I was in trouble. I can't remember. I do remember the same day, though. I feel like that would have been more confusing in my brain if that wasn't the same day that I walked downstairs. And keep in mind, I'm 7 years old. I look at the TV, it's maybe like 10 p.m., and it's like Celebrity Deathmatch. And that was the first time that my brain had ever experienced, like, almost comical levels of harm that aren't presented through Tom and Jerry. And my brain just went, whoa, I don't know if I like any of that. And I can't play Mortal Kombat to this day. I chipped another kid's tooth shooting a Beyblade at it when they were making fun of my Beyblade in elementary school. That's fucked. Teeth are like the one part of the body you really don't want to fuck up. Because the moment that you do, it's like soup. And you can't even really enjoy soup because the heat of the soup will fuck you up. You might have repented for your sin, considering you said, like, this was once when you were a child and also Beyblades. But, like, I hope you've repented for your sin since then. Whoever that 7-year-old should be burnt on a cross. Get rid of him. Get rid of that 7-year-old. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have no idea. I have no memory of it. Maybe because of trauma. But during our mandatory testing period, when I was like 9... this girl was handing out pencils to all the students. I was fucking about, and somehow when she was giving them to the grouping of desks, giving them to my grouping of desks, and I, like, moved the desk somehow in a way where the pencil went through her hand? Question mark? I was told about this much later, and I have no memory of it. What in the world? You are literally, and I mean this unironically, you are the Joker. You are the Jonkler. Are you sure that, like, they're, like, leaving out the part of the story where they say you want to see a magic trick? Because I have a feeling there's, like, I'm not saying that there's a strong chance, but there's a small chance. How soft can a hand be? I mean, well, you are 9. We're talking about 9-year-olds here. Have you ever been around, like, a 9-year-old? They're, like, little, small people. I remember, like, one of the worst ways that I've ever injured myself would have, like, killed me now. Well, it wouldn't kill me. I was doing a kickflip down a two-step when I was 11, and the board, it pulled a credit card, so the nose of the board was directly against my testicles, and the bottom of the board was directly against the ground. My body weight went right into it. It would have severed my testicles and maybe broken my pelvis at this age. But you're only a little 11-year-old lad. There's not that much mass to, like, break apart. And so you just kind of bounce off of it like a rubber ball and you go, owie. You go, youch. Yeah, exactly. One time when I was 7, I had a mandatory test and I labeled a pig as a fish. Equally traumatic as I think. Who can be that stupid? I don't know if I've ever told this story on stream, and I think about it very, very frequently because a lot of my friends remember it vividly. And I remember it vividly as well because I don't think I realized what was wrong at the time until several years later. When we were in PE, we had a substitute teacher, and during, like, it's PE, and so they try and, like, mix it in with some more knowledge-driven education. And so we're going through, like, basic human anatomy, and we're talking about, like, respiratory systems, and so we're talking about kind of, like, the whole, like, throat area. This story might make you think, like, oh, I thought he might be a little bit stupid, and now I simply know he is. Jesus Christ. So she's pointing towards a section of the throat that is called the trachea. Keep in mind, we would have been taught this on the same lesson. This is just recapping what it is. And I raise my hand with full confidence. I'm not fucking around here. I'm not being like, oh, I'm going to do a funny bit. I raise my hand. She goes, you, because she doesn't know what my name is because she's a substitute teacher. I go, that's the urethra. And everyone in the class starts laughing. I have no fucking idea what is wrong. And the sub turns to my normal teacher. Because it's like a training thing. So the teacher is a sub, but she's being coached by the main teacher. She looks back at the main teacher to be like, what the fuck is this kid on about? And she looks at her and must be just aware that I'm, like, a little bit slow. And so she goes, no, that one's fine. He's just made a mistake. And I'm sat there completely oblivious. People are giggling their fucking nuts off, and I'm like, what? What's wrong? Like, I don't see the problem. And yet, here I am, as a 28-year-old man, still thinking about a thing that I did when I was 14. Who knew that labeling something incorrectly could have such long-term effects? Teachers are used to a dumbass, it's okay. Yeah, but, like, the fact that you have to, well, not you, I have to be stupid enough for the teacher to go, in a class of, like, 30 people, go like, look, I understand what it might look like. This kid's actually just thick as shit. Like, at the time, I felt pretty good about it because it meant that I wasn't getting scolded. But in retrospect, it means that it's like, oh, I really was just, like, the lost cause of the classroom. If Miss Arkinson, I think that was her name, is watching, thanks for that one. At least you did, like, some emotional, like, healing for me, I guess. I don't know. I also remember that same teacher was really trying to get me to say descending as an answer to a question. And she was really trying to spell it out for me. It starts with a D. It ends with an ing. And I just pulled out ding. And I think that was the moment when I knew, like, maybe I'm a little bit stupid. But goddamn, do I know a joke when I see it. She laughed in a way that I don't think I've ever made anyone laugh. She was genuinely in tears for, like, the last, like, 10 minutes of the lesson. It was great. What are the odds that Miss Arkinson would be a fan of your stream? Very, very slim. She was a PE teacher. I have a feeling she's more interested in watching the football than watching a bald man play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Is that also... Wait, was that another one? That is another one. What the hell? Do they all just, like, end up going the same area? Also, who has a... Okay, maybe this is presumptuous and this is how airports are in other countries. I've never encountered a pickpocket in an airport. Is that a thing? Because an airport is a closed system. Like, you can't get into it without buying a whole ticket. So surely it would be like an insanely high-risk operation. Also, there's CCTV everywhere. I don't know. Something, get with it, game designers. My realism, etc., etc. However, even that was realism. I could do that in real life. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but I can only do tricks that I can do in real life. I don't even think I could, like, skate near someone and not fall over. So I think I've already fucked it up. I can do that in real life. I've done that in real life, even. The least pathological liar of a streamer. You'd have to be a fucking crime overlord if you did it at an airport. That's what I'm saying. My immersion. Iron Galaxy? Come on. Shaking my damn dick and balls. This is made by Iron Galaxy and not Vicarious Visions? No. Sorry, yes, it is. I don't know if Vicarious Visions did any, like, support studio stuff, but... I mean, it's still clearly using a lot of the technology from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. 1+2. But yeah, it is made by Iron Galaxy. Check the Iron Galaxy logo right here. There we go. Vicarious Visions is dead forever. I haven't paid attention, unfortunately. Me, a man who advocates for better working conditions in the games industry, while also not paying attention to if any of the studios that he's advocating for are actually still open. It's more common than you'd think. They got put in the Call of Duty mines. Well, I mean, I'd rather they get put in the Call of Duty mines than, you know, get laid off, for example. Do you reckon we're gonna look back on Call of Duty the way that people look back at, like, Quake versus Doom back in the day? Where now everything is kind of held up as the same kind of golden age. All the people that played Doom were like, yeah, Quake was the GOAT. And all of the people that played Quake were like, yeah, Doom's the GOAT. Because that's got to happen with like, Call of Duty. Because I remember around the time it was like, you're either a Call of Duty kid or you're a Halo kid. But now we're all like, we have a common enemy that is, well, not a common enemy, but we have a common point of disdain that is Fortnite. And so surely we come together in, like, unity for our fallen whatever. Our fellow fallen gamer, the child of the arena shooter, if you will. Acclaim just won't die? That's not what I'm saying. No studio will die. No studios ever die, actually. It's all a conspiracy theory. What do you reckon the, like, medieval weaboo would have been? Do you reckon they would have had, like, a fascination for Asia, or it would have just been like, yeah, I live in Cornwall, but I have a fascination for Birmingham. Or Sugoi Birmingham des. It is kind of fucked how our, like, sense of scale for the far away is. It would take a full day's worth of effort to get up to, like, Glasgow. And yet, for some reason, because of the invention of planes, my brain is going, God, if only I could get to all the way over to Asia, then I would have a truly unique experience. You don't know anything about, like, Edinburgh. You don't know anything about Glasgow. Fucking go there. You can have an adventure on your own fucking terms by, like, just going, I don't know, a couple 100 miles a different direction. Obviously, if you're in the States, that's a little bit different, because they'll tell you that it's really different regardless of where you go, and they're all kind of lying. Europe, though, 100 miles any which way, you're all good. Is this worth 70? I'm assuming that you mean $70 or 70 euros, question mark. The answer is no. No. If I wasn't streaming, I would absolutely wait until the regular release, because you're not really missing out on anything by buying it a little bit later. I would just be missing out on potential stream viewership, which is why I bought it so early. A fascination for the Middle East? Oh, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a kind of tired observation, but, like, it must have been crazy just, like, hearing about places that weren't that far away. Because, like, imagine living in England and then, like, finding out that bears exist. And you're like, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, they're in, like, France. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. There's not a dog that is larger than me and also doesn't show up in the winter. I don't believe you. This actually happened in historical contexts. There was a whole thing in the Second Punic War that was like, hey, Hannibal, why are you riding elephants over the Alps? And it was to scare the shit out of the Romans. That's kind of epic. That is, like, truly mogging the shit out of your opponent. It's like, yeah, you might have a big army, but also I have a creature that is beyond your comprehension. Which, I mean, I guess that's like what like a stealth bomber is now. It's like, where did we get hit from? I don't know, and none of us know. Now we just have creations beyond your comprehension. How boring. How stale. Weapons committing atrocities that you can't perceive, yeah. Weapons committing atrocities that you can't perceive? I sleep. Creatures beyond comprehensions committing atrocities that you can't comprehend? Whoa, Pog! Holy shit, that's epic. Let's introduce Greek fire. Yippee! Oh, fuck. Okay, I forgot about this level. This level I might dislike more than Suburbia. I don't know why, but I hate this level. I think it's so incredibly dull. It's mostly just dull. That's all it really is. But this level has never, ever, ever done anything for me. To the question, how am I liking it? It's fine. It's, you know, it's more Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, which is perfectly fine by me. Like, I'm not against more of the thing that I like. The thing that I am curious about is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, specifically, which I haven't played yet. Not as in, I haven't played the remake part of it yet. And depending on how they do that, I might have very, very different. Because I don't think I necessarily want like a true blue remake of it. I just want them to make like a better version of the missions that are already in the game. Because I think that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, perhaps famously, well, maybe not famously, that implies like a level of importance that doesn't exist. But I kind of fucking hate Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 in terms of mission design. So depending on how they change that, that's when I'll care. It's because it's a real skate park, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. It's boring because it's too fundamental to itself. It doesn't have enough fantastical elements, or at least it doesn't disguise its geometry's inspiration. But then again, now that I think about it, that might not necessarily be true, because in Tony Hawk's Underground, they have... Which contest is it? It's not Tampa. There is a contest in that game that is just based on like a skate park, but it also is really fucking sick. So maybe that's a bit of a misanalysis of what I don't or do like. Question mark? I'm actually an intellectual. Tampa does have one. Maybe you mean the Slam City Jam. It is the Slam City Jam. Yeah. What if the pirate ship outside was made the whole level just really big? Maybe it would have been based. Oh shit, I'm in fucking SpongeBob land. I forgot. Oh fuck. I forgot they added that. What's your history with the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games? The first one, for example. If I said I was born in 1997, would that give you a decent indication? Basically, whether or not literally or merely by circumstance, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater influenced basically everything I did from the age of, I don't know, 5 to 12. That Easter egg would have made me go fucking nuts as a kid, yeah. I can't lie, there's definitely a part of me that is... It's like cynicism that is unwarranted. Because I saw, what's his name? Michelangelo or something from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was in this game as a secret character. And initially I was like, crossovers, more crossovers, I fucking hate that. And then I thought for about 4 seconds and I went, hold on a minute. When I was younger, they had fucking Spider-Man in his bitch. And I wasn't going, fucking Spider-Man, doesn't that dilute the integrity of the experience? No, I'm 4 years old. I'm going, holy fuck, that's fucking Spider-Man. My 28-year-old ass needs to shut the fuck up and enjoy the toys, you know? Now that said, when it comes to Tekken, I'm holding ground. I'm holding my ground and I'm saying, I think Clive is fucking stupid. I don't want more guest characters. We need to chill the fuck out. But also, I'm not playing Tekken enough to really be involved in the conversation. The Dark Maul integrity. Yeah, exactly. +2 real Northern Lion coded bit. I'll give you a true for that. As a 33-year-old, I can say that you're spitting facts. Hell yeah. Truly validated by my peers. My friend has recently become a teacher. And it's really funny looking at him now at the age of, I think he's 29. He is going into teaching. And, like, in my head, he's still young. He's he's too young to be teaching kids about Python and shit. Especially because he doesn't really do Python or computer programming. But he was like, you're young and you're tech savvy. You know FL Studio. You can do Python, right? And he just went, I guess. But it's funny to, like, think about him now as a teacher and all the stupid shit that he comes back from school with. Which, obviously, I'm not gonna air out, considering, you know, he told me that in confidence that it wouldn't go anywhere. But it's funny to think about, like, I wonder what shit I did as a student the teachers would talk about, if anything at all. I do remember the one of the very few times that I did homework, because I was a very lazy student. I did a bit of science homework, and the teacher was quite, like, stone-faced deadpan, but now that I'm, like, thinking about it, it's like, he was probably stone-faced deadpan, but also, like, a little freak when it wasn't coming to work. But I remember in one of his assignments, I just got really bored, and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking start writing about Pokemon. Because it's like what makes me interested in, like, writing. And so I'm just gonna pose the question to the teacher in writing, like, I like Garchomp, what's your favorite Pokemon? And then the next, like, day, it rolled around, he pulled me aside and he was like, Leon, why have you decided to randomly start talking about Pokemon in your assignment? I was like, I thought it'd be funny. And I think at the time I was shitting my pants. But I think now looking back on it, he thought it was really funny as well. He just couldn't tell me because he was a teacher. Because he just kind of let it rock. He was just like, okay, no punishment, no nothing. Sent me back into class like nothing had happened. I think truly he was like, this kid's just like bored out of his fucking mind. I can't even be mad. The kid that answered ding. It was a different teacher. FL Studio to Python is an insane jump. Did he answer though? Hold on a minute. Did he answer though? No, but I do get the impression he was a bold science teacher, and so I get like the feeling his favorite Pokemon was like Magnezone. You know how like earlier I was like, people that are into Bionicle, it's like, there's no way that most people now are into Bionicle the way that people should have been. That's me with Pokemon. I shouldn't have been like, yeah, but this guy's giving Magnezone. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, FL Studio to Python is deranged. It isn't that poorly assessed though, purely on the basis that if you're willing to learn a DAW, chances are you're probably tech savvy enough that you can learn very basic Python to teach some students. I'm not saying that they should have done it, but as an underfunded school, as a lot of them are, I think it makes a bit of sense to, instead of looking at the English teacher who is using ChatGPT to answer all of the students' grades, to instead go, the guy who's learned some really fucking weird magician software, he can teach computer science to some 12-year-olds. Go on. Do a little computer science even though you don't know what you're doing. There's no way that he knew anything more than the first 151. I don't know if that's like entirely reasonable a guess. Because I had a teacher in college who was a game design teacher. He wasn't a game designer. He was just an IT guy. But he kind of gave the vibe of a younger version of that science teacher. And one day I brought in Monster Hunter, and he fucking pogged out of his mind. He was like, holy shit, you're playing Monster Hunter? What class are you playing? Like, what weapon do you use? And I'm like, brother, I've just started this game. I have no idea what the fuck all right. And he was genuinely disappointed when I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just pushing the buttons. And so I have a feeling like if that's a version of him a couple of years back, I can imagine the science teacher, if you go a couple years further, he's the same guy. See, there's another letter over here. Wait, didn't they whoa. Is this different? This feels way different. I feel like I remember it being a much larger... Yeah, it was. This section used to be much deeper with like a kicker and a platform and then another kicker on the other side. What the hell? Why'd they change it? Something lazy devs didn't want to make 4 extra meters of level. I'm kidding. The whole like lazy dev narrative on the internet it's really frustrating because it's a really funny joke, but also people sincerely believe it, that like games are made by incredibly lazy people, despite the fact that they are fundamentally some of the hardest things that you can, like, produce in a working level. Oh my god. In, like, a working medium. Too many graphics, methinks. Me, a fellow intellectual. I agree. Old level design really could just be, like, just fucking put something in the level. It doesn't need to make a lot of sense. It doesn't need to, like, flow from one area to another. This game needs to last upwards of like 20 hours anyway, and we only have like an hour and a half's worth of content. Just fucking put it somewhere and pray. That, and also, if you made like a game that was pretty obtuse, you could always sell more, you know the little like guides that they would make as like a whole booklet afterwards? It's crazy thinking back on like because I had this period about a month ago where I just went through, like, a bunch of, like, things that were playground rumors when I was maybe, like, 10 to 14. And it turns out, like, all of them were real. It was, like, the big one that I remember was, like, the Scarab gun in Halo 2. And I was, like, I think I remember that being real, but also it got revealed to be real several years after I left school, and so it was like, holy shit, that's weird. But it turns out, no, it was like, people knew, like, days after the game came out, but for some reason, the pace that information would travel was just so slow that this thing that was absolutely real couldn't be proven because nobody, like, properly looked into how to do it. I'm not saying that there's, like, there's, like, a sense of whimsy that is lost by not having information travel slower. But there is... You know what? No, fuck it. I am saying it. There is a sense of whimsy that has been lost. The world was a better place when I was younger and also didn't have to worry about income and bills? Question mark. Is it simply less responsibility, or is it I have a little Mario Kart item wheel in my head, it's going diddly 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 diddly, and it lands on the woke, and then I go and I vote reform. Anyway, enough about the mental logic of the majority of men over 40 in Britain. Am I right? Don't fish, my beloved. Don't fish was everywhere, though. Don't fish, I feel like, also wasn't, like, an Easter egg that was interesting if you were in, like, on, like, a playground. If you're on a playground, you want the Easter egg to be, holy fuck, there's a really big gun that you can get, and the gun shoots like horses. Whoa. It's not like, oh, did you know there's a code between multiple different games that are typically of the same genre that is used in a lot of chests? How curious. I also love to know about 0431 or whatever the fuck it is. The 17th Colossus. I mean, okay. 17th Colossus is a really interesting, like, idea and, like, myth. But also, I wasn't playing Shadow of the Colossus. Even as, like, a big nerdy kid, I was like, no. I'm playing Ratchet and Clank and shit. Well, it wasn't Ratchet and Clank. It would have been Spyro. Dude, you can totally explore the city in Need for Speed Underground if you lose to this guy and then win and then lose to the other guy 2 other times. And then in 2, you legit just could. It was a fucked up game. I mean, Need for Speed Underground was crazy. It was, so I've been looking into this for the SSX video. But, like, Need for Speed Underground was an absurd, like, unfathomably successful game compared to basically everything else that was new that EA was releasing around the time. Like, a lot of games were successful around that time. Like, SSX at least sold 1 million, which doesn't even include the second-hand market, which I think is where SSX probably found a lot of its footing, to be fair. But Need for Speed Underground was like, it was as though you made like a blockbuster game today as relative terms, which is a little bit crazy considering how it has a lot of cultural zeitgeist, but doesn't have a lot of cultural influence anymore. And a lot of the time when people think about Need for Speed as like a golden age, they're like, oh, dude, Need for Speed Most Wanted, that was the GOAT shit. And it's like, it was, but it wasn't where EA thought it was the GOAT shit. They loved Underground. You look somewhat decent at this. What do you think about, oh fuck, Thug Pro and Rethawed? I played a bit of Thug Pro, pretty cool. Thawed, I haven't played at all. Mostly because if I already have Thug Pro, I can't really see why I would need Rethawed. But they're good. They're a lot of fun. I think what it lacks is mostly stuff that is important to me, but not important to the people that are playing it every single day. I really want a leaderboard, but also I'm fully aware that a lot of the stuff that surrounds Tony Hawk is now, people have just gotten so good that it's like, this is ridiculous. And going for high scores, or like, trying to break the record isn't necessarily that fun, because the skill level has just gotten so high. And so people prefer to play in lobbies where it's like, okay, I just need to beat this score this time, right? Need for Speed Underground. You race above ground. Curious. False advertising. I will sue this company for it. I've been told that the campaign for 4 was bloated, but I didn't grow up with it, so I have 0 stakes in this horse race. I thought it sucked. I thought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4's everything was like, oh, I hated it. I hated it with a passion. Oh, wait, they've changed it to like a normal like level. How did they... What? Because I remember when they announced the game, it was like, okay, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is not going to have the usual level design. And I was excited and also a little bit disappointed by the idea that, whoa, it was being taken away. But now I'm confused, because this is completely different. This is nothing like how this worked initially. And I don't even think it's related to how they worked initially, because initially this area, if I remember correctly, had a tennis minigame that was unrelated to skateboard. And so that like boneless spine transfer thing wasn't even an objective. I didn't play 4, but in Thug Pro, all of its levels were my least favorite. I mean, I agree, but also I have a insane bias towards, you know, things that were of my childhood when they were Kino. And so it's like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, yummy, 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 put it in my mouth. But the moment that it's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, it's like, I don't know. Run it back to Thug, though. Yummy. Delightful. I don't know why I'm talking like the fucking G-Light, B-Light guy. I can't believe Skibidi Toilet is going to go the way of, like, Shrek is Love, Shrek is Love. Like, there's going to be a generation that just kind of... That was a resounding comedic point between every single interaction that they had. And yet they hit the age of, like, 25. They have a real job. And then they're going to look back at it and they're going to go, where was the joke? I don't even remember. Do you remember when bronies were around? I kind of feel like, in a way, bronies are, or were, rather, like the Star Wars fandom of our generation. Or at least my generation. Where it's like, there's a lot of people that just kind of like it passingly, but then there's the couple thousand incredibly loud fans that kind of make it insufferable for a lot of people to kind of like give it a shot. And then slowly over time, it just kills off the entire franchise. How does it work? Other than, again, obviously, like, I guess, well, I was going to say it's probably a little bit different because Star Wars wasn't exactly made for kids and My Little Pony definitely was. But when I think about it, it's like, Star Wars wasn't exactly fucking cinema from Scorsese. Like, it was still a big, fun product more than anything. Even if George Lucas isn't willing to admit it. Surely they're all furries now? Yeah, no. Like, they might be. But, like, that doesn't mean that the IP should have gone anywhere, apparently. I can imagine how many guys watched that along with someone to get laid. The guy in question. I mean, My Little Pony or Star Wars? I don't think I've ever, like, watched anything specifically with the idea that, like, oh, this one's gonna get me with the ladies, isn't it? Wee. Or lads. But, like, I don't think I've ever done that, which I think might be an indicator that, like, maybe I'm not willing to concede as much as I should be able to. Because everything that I ever do is, like, why are you playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4? It's like, well, it might make a bit of money, but more importantly, I'm addicted to Tony Hawk. Hawk lives in my mind rent-free, and so my appeal to other people be damned, I'm going to play this game incredibly early and shoot myself in the moral foot. I do feel like this game getting the 3-day early pass might be like a, not like a sign of poison, but like a, I don't know. It gives off awful, awful vibes. And the fact that I was willing to pay for it shows that even as someone who tries to be, like, aware and conscious of this is just, like, manipulative practice in order to get someone to pay extra for a thing they were already going to pay for. I'm also prone to that. I'm like the little piggy that will just pay for something 3 days early if I'm really, really in need of it. Which is crazy, because I didn't need it. I could have just... somebody run the refund right now. I could have literally just gone, fuck it. Like, let's stick with 1+2. Let's stick with Thug Pro. But instead, here I am, doing everything I can to go on skateboard all the time. Doom the Dark Age did the same shit. It's fucked up. And what I find even more annoying is that if I say, hey, that's kind of fucked up, I'm worried that I'm going to attract a small subset of audience that might go, yeah, that's fucked up. Game devs are lazy. No, that's not what I'm saying. Two different things. Like, whenever I want to talk about, like, stop killing games, because I think the initiative does... I think the stop killing games initiative makes a lot of sense. I do, in theory, support it. But also at the same time, it's like, I don't know enough about game development. I know enough about game development to know that it is substantially more complicated than I would expect. But I also know that I don't know enough about game development to know whether or not it would, how impactful planning extra end-of-life support would be. But I also do know enough about game development to know that no dev ever has it go smoothly. And so planning for end-of-life development doesn't necessarily mean that you would have end-of-life development. And so it's like, I'm really conflicted on, like, this idea of, like, okay, I think that the initiative makes a lot of sense. I also think there might be, like, roadblocks that we're kind of not seeing. But then, more importantly than that, I'm like, there seems to be a lot of people behind it right now that are really, like, passionate in a way that seems... what's the word? There's people that are passionate about it for completely reasonable sake. And then there's a couple of people that seem passionate about it because these lazy devs, they released a game that was bad once, you know? You can call them Asmongold viewers, it's fine. You support rollback, right? This feels like a similar all-win scenario. Yeah. It's like, it is an all-win scenario under the circumstance that it happened. The problem is, like, it is hard to tell how much work has to be put into a product or how much work has to be planned for a product for everyone to win. And it's like, games are already a miracle to get to the end point with to begin with. I don't know how valuable it is to insist that developers should plan for an end-of-life support that they, one, might not even end up using, and two, might not have the means to enact. Like, for example, I think this is, like, a very common example that is, like, given. But, like, if you're running a multiplayer service, chances are you use third-person... Yeah, not third-person. You're using, like, a third-party service somewhere along the line. How do you plan to not have that third-party service involved? And it's, like, it's a little bit more complicated a question than maybe is, like, considered, I guess, when you're looking at it from the ideal output. Or, for example, let's say you have a system in which you're not using any third-party services anywhere along the line, but you use the same infrastructure over multiple games. If there's potential risk in releasing like source code, if you release the source code for one game that reaches end-of-life support, you now potentially run the risk of security issues in every other game that you have. And is that something that's really worth, like, putting into place? And maybe the answer is yes. I don't know. But I know that I am ignorant enough to go, it's probably not my decision to make. And it's probably much more complicated than I think it's going to be. Average gamer discourse tries to not turn toxic towards developers instead of publishers challenge. Impossible. I mean, okay, I'll give you that. That's definitely true. The gamers have a tendency to shit on the developers for no reason. I don't know. Maybe this is just more the perspective of someone who kind of looks at games as like a bit of a miracle, and like regardless of whether or not they get made, and so I'm kind of fine to see them let go because it was like I don't know. I'm more in the camp of I'm glad that I had it rather than I'm mad that it's gone, you know? But then again, I'm also not buying, like, gacha games where it's like, oh, my PNG cost $3 or whatever. Is it worth it? No. The more that I'm playing it, the more I'm like, I probably should have just waited for the regular version. There's even a part of me that is thinking I should really, like, see if I can get a Steam refund for the deluxe edition and then just buy the normal version. You know? $3 would be cheap for most gacha. I remember one character in Street Fighter gacha that was £98? What the fuck? What the hell are we doing here? Hold on a moment. You know what? Maybe I am mad at the developers. I don't know. That's an absurd number. I don't know. I don't think any video game entertainment that isn't like a whole new product should be worth more than, like, I don't know, like 50 quid. And that's not because I'm like, oh, I don't want the devs to get paid. It's more like, fuck. We can't realistically continue to make products for more than 50 quid a purchase. Is the game itself worth? You mean like not a deluxe edition? Yeah, I think it's fine. I would be happy to pay 40 quid for it. The only thing that I'm not happy with is the fact that they've done the deluxe edition gets early access, and that I have fallen for the fear of missing out. But the thing is, it is just 1+2 again, so if you didn't like 1+2, then I would probably say it's not worth it. If you like 1+2, it's worth it. Banquet Fei Long is currently £96 and 99 pence. Okay, that's like genuine moral failing kind of shit. Whatever benevolent deity you believe in would come down, look at that, and go, first layer of hell, all of you. Imagine spending that much and it's not even meta. I politely, this has been something that I was thinking about yesterday because, like, Fakamram came out. It's a little bit strange to me, the idea that a DLC character for a fighting game has to come out. And one, they're worth, like, fucking £9 per character. But more importantly, it's like, oh, they have to be good. And it's like, I don't know how to describe this in a way that is eloquent, but it makes me feel like fighting games have become, well, okay, they haven't become. Let me rework this in my brain. Let me workshop this in my brain for a couple of seconds. Fighting games might be losing a slight edge in terms of creativity in their esports aspect, in this idea that not only does a piece of content have to be fun, but just as importantly, it has to be competitively tuned. Like, why does a piece of content that is fun become devalued by the fact that it is not competitively viable if fighting games are not games first? It just doesn't make any sense. And so I think that there's a weird thing where fighting games, by existing in this middle point between a sport and a game, are suffering by making decisions with the context of this sports aspect. Because, like, let's say a character comes out, they're really fun, but nobody fucking uses them. That's not a problem, because the fun of the game has still gained value. And I would even make an argument that from a sports context, that's also good, because you allow the players to focus more on the interactions between the knowledge that is already within the game, rather than adding new knowledge on top of already established systems. But if you are buying a character and looking at it from a sports perspective, you might be expecting every single DLC character to add to the sport aspect, which isn't necessarily a good thing or true. Like, look at Rocket League. They don't need to have every new car add to the mechanics because they have a base that they're confident about. And, like, if a Street Fighter character comes out and they're fun but they're fucking useless, it's like, well, that's not a problem, because the characters that are already there are still fun. I don't know. A new character being ass is funny, I agree. I will simply blame the bad taste of the players. True. But you are right, that does kind of make... I guess my ideas are incredibly flawed there. in that it kind of puts an element of the blame on the player, which isn't true because they don't have any control over, or they don't have direct control over what gets added to the game, or any control really. Opinion that some modern appliances like dishwashers need Wi-Fi connection in order to work. Oh Jesus, it's the fucking end times. That's what I'll give you. Shorty, what you sipping on? Don't give me that kind of confidence. That'd be like if one of my mates like called me girly pop. I'd be like, yes. And finally, it would affirm me in a way that I would never recover from. I have a drink here. Not many of you have heard of it, I'm sure. It's called water. And then I highly, highly doubt that you've heard of this, called coffee. That's what I'm sipping on, yeah. Oh, yo! That ampersand, not ampersand, colon 3 with a C. Now that right there is one of those like things that you can use not only like to test someone's age, because there's a certain demographic that will never understand, well, not never understand, but is unlikely to understand like typing with colons and shit and punctuation. But I feel like that's also probably going to be like an Android test in the future. Like, you know how in Electric Sheep they have the empathy test, and it's like a test designed to like put some peril in front of an android and then have them produce like an empathetic response to the peril. In our ChatGPT future, it's just going to be trying to get ChatGPT to use like an emoticon, but from the perspective of someone who is currently 30. Because that's our generation. But if you look across the internet and all of their training data, it's all going to be emojis and like sweating faces with the little teardrop on the side or whatever. They're not going to be able to comprehend the emotional insecurity or the emotional security of colon 3. Do you reckon that Mango... Maybe I shouldn't go into this. I'm going into it anyway, fuck it. Do you reckon that Mango, like, falling out of Melee's good graces is going to have, like, a strong negative impact on Melee? Because I've been thinking about it lately. I'm like, we might be looking down the barrel of the end of Melee. And I'm not saying that, like, oh, Mango should have been held to different standards because he's the GOAT. Like, no. What he did was fucking peculiar and he was a strange guy for it. But it is odd to think, like, how much of the Five Gods concept still holds Melee up. Despite the fact that Five Gods has not been, like, a thing for years and years and years. And with one of them, like, going down to controversy as opposed to, like, PPMD, where it's just like, oh, I just kind of don't have the confidence or means to go to a lot of tournaments. It's like, oh, this could be the end. We need like a new generation of charismatic GOATs. And that Zane, to be fair, the very little that I've spoken to Zane, he was a lovely guy. And he seems very charismatic every time he gets on the camera. But it's just like, he just doesn't seem to pick up the way that Mango did. It's another black spot in history, but it's just another point in history. See, this is the thing, I don't necessarily agree on the concept that, like, a lot of the other stuff, like the stuff with, like, hacks, for example, it's very, very odd, but also, relatively speaking, it's just a small portion of Melee's history. Mango is the guy on the front cover, effectively. Mango is Melee, effectively, in America. Think about all the people that go to American Smash tournaments, and Mango was their favorite player. Not even, like, someone from their local, which is a crime. I'm just gonna throw it out there. If you go to locals, and your favorite player isn't someone that you know personally, and somebody that you speak to, like, you've committed a moral failing. Not on anyone else, but yourself. My favorite player is a Sheik player who has a child, who is named Jaden, and I love him with all my soul. My second favorite player, that's Bombo right there. Sheesh. Who are they? You'll never know. But that doesn't matter, because they're my goats. Go and find your own goats. Something Mike Tyson? Okay, you've got a point. Hold on a minute. My argument is invalidated. When Slippy exists, it doesn't matter. The game will continue to exist, just with other players. I'll give you that. Honestly, it's shocking that they haven't taken down Slippy. Apparently, from the TOs that I've been speaking to, apparently Melee is back in kind of Nintendo's spotlight in terms of, like, legal stuff. And so they have to be extra vigilant that none of the mod side of the game is like visible at the moment. They all have to be using transforming Pokemon Stadium, and it's like nobody even fucking knows that the Stadium transforms. Nobody who was playing Melee in 2001 is playing Melee anymore because, you know, most of them have grown up and they've gone and had families, and video games are a portion of their childhood as opposed to a mainstay of their current lives. Anyway, most of the people that played Melee in 2001, they're not going to rock up to a modern Melee setup and get to Pokemon Stadium, and after, what, 25 years of having not played it, go, hold on a minute, this stage isn't moving. Like, fucking, just leave Stadium alone. I can almost understand the UCF thing at the top of character select. I kinda get it, because it looks weird and it makes your product look weird. But the fact that Stadium doesn't transform, fucking stupid thing to go after TOs for. I didn't know what you meant for a while, but yeah, your fave should be someone you know. That's what I'm saying. Oh. Wait, this is a whole new level. Wait, what? What the fuck? What the hell? Am I stupid? Is this a whole new level? What the fuck? What the hell? What the hell on? What the fuck? This is just a whole new level. What? Is a competition? Iron Galaxy, when they put an entire new level in their remake, they produced the :3 with the C. They go, oopsie whoopsie. I merely dropped a whittle whole new content in your remake. Which, to be fair, I don't think I'm complaining, because I think I conceptually really like this level. Like, a lot of bowls that you're like swapping between. Very like quarter pipe oriented, but oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, hold on a minute. I want to go back here because I feel like this might be a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Oh, okay, no, it's not. I was like, is this going to be a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 reference? What the fuck? Because in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, they have a section where you bust open a drain pipe, and it also takes you into like a sewer system type area. And visually, it was very similar to that, but like a lot worse because it was Tony Hawk's 5, obviously. But I was gonna fucking lose it. I have a very strong feeling that this level is going to have like Easter eggs out of it. Like, if you really wanted to, like the posters, I'm sure, and this is coming from someone that isn't a cinema enjoyer, I'm sure all of the posters are in reference to something. I can't tell if you're saying damn bro is hot with it in regards to I flip the buttons real good, because this is literally nothing compared to what my power level is willing to produce. I just said the phrase power level, unironically, or a loss of champions, Jesus Christ. Or if you're talking about how much, like, big Reese's Pieces chocolate bar I just shoved in my mouth. I eat like a little goblin. Like, I can't not put, like, if I'm eating something, the whole thing has to go in my mouth. Chicken, burgers, chips. Obviously, chips is not exactly, like, a huge exception, but, like, I'm not a one-by-one guy. Give me at least 10 at once. Is the only fighting game that you're playing right now GG Rev? I'm playing a little bit of Tekken 8 with 8 on the side, but the more that I play Tekken 8, the more I'm like, yeah, actually, I didn't like this game. I don't think it's the worst game that's been made, you know, recently, because I really didn't like Street Fighter 6, but there's just too much shit in that game, man. Like, even when it's just like, oh, you're only using like 10 buttons, I'm like, I don't know. It all comes out too quickly and it's all too indistinct to me. And I think that might just be a case of, I don't know, maybe I don't like Tekken at its core anymore. Not to say like, oh, I don't like what Tekken has become. More like, you know, I don't want to spend my time learning Tekken adjacent stuff anymore. Alright, chat, I have a question, but I need everyone to agree to not get hostile immediately. We can get hostile later, but we can't get hostile right now. Is there anyone here who uses like generative AI freak? I don't mean like creating images. I mean like I'm using ChatGPT as a substitute for Googling. I use it for work. I think I've used it once or twice. Actually, my school provides one for usage around our nursing courses. Okay, well that's kind of fucked up. In my head, I don't know. Maybe it's pretty good for that kind of thing. I don't use any AI. I can't even play Tekken 8. That's not... I'm not talking about Tekken AI's, like, arcade mode. I'm talking about ChatGPT. I only use AI to get ideas for videos sometimes. Can I... it seems we're mostly in agreement that most of the time AI is not that easy. Am I reading the room correctly? It's a yes or no question, so don't give me that 100-word essay nuance that I'm not looking for. No nuance! Only base yes or no answers. We call that... I don't know. We call that English politics, question mark? Anything to get a +2. Okay, but we're all in agreement. Does it not stand to reason, then, that if AI is not particularly useful a lot of the time, you can use it as a benchmark to find out what sucks? Because what I've been doing, I have been using AI. I have been using AI specifically feeding it like a video structure, and then whatever it spits out, I don't make the direct opposite, but I look at it, I figure out what the problems are with the way that it's, like, ordered everything, and then I make something completely different from it. It's kind of like, it's kind of like giving yourself, like, a taste test of, like, what if I cooked this food entirely wrong? You know? Wait, how do you do that? So I don't feed it the entire script, I just feed it all of the subject lines, what I plan to hit, and what all of those subject lines, like, generally entail. And then when it spits out, like, oh, like, you could do this, you could do this, you could talk about this point, and it's like, oh, I hadn't considered that, mostly because it sucks, I know that I'm onto something good. If I give it a bunch of information, and it comes back with what I've already made, chances are what I've made is dog shit. Am I not incorrect about that? Use the YouTube thumbnail generator and then make the exact opposite. The problem is, I think that the YouTube thumbnail generators, generally speaking, make something that will work that is boring. And unfortunately, what is a bit boring normally works. Like, I think I make some pretty... I think I make interesting but bad thumbnails in the idea that they do not do well in click-through rate. But then when I look at the thumbnail as it's in the little, like, preview window, I'm like, that's me. That's my art right there. And so I know maybe the viewer doesn't give a shit. In fact, I know the viewer a lot of the time doesn't give a shit. But I know in my soul of souls, that's me. That's me on that screen right there. And I will go through like 3 or 4 different thumbnail designs every single time. And the first 2 or 3, I'm like, ChatGPT could have made this. ChatGPT always would have made this. And so I just go like, nope, scrap it. Get rid of it. Do a new one. That approach does get around the issue with it all being IP theft since you're not actually using any of it. Yeah. I think that there is also... I've also used it every once in a while to go like... Here's a thing that I kind of understand. Here's this one specific point that I need a little bit of clarification on. Specifically when it comes to, like, reading financial reports. So, for example, the other day, I was looking at EA's 2002 financial report, and they had operating losses of... or operating income of negative 33 million. And I was just like, just clarify for me how exactly this gets added into the balance sheet. Or not added into the balance sheet. Gets added into the rest of the finance. And that it was like kind of useful in because it was like, oh, okay, well now I know what to Google at the very least, you know? Because I think that like, generally speaking, I think too many people are, especially on like political creative left, rightfully doomer about AI, but just a little bit too much. They're a little bit too far overboard. It's like, yeah, it's a tool that effectively creates a lot of slop, and that's bad, but also people have always been making slop. I make slop. You know, the second channel is mostly slop. And so I don't really think that trying to say that AI is bad because it makes slop is the best argument, considering you can also use that point of trash curation as a way to go, oh, this is what I shouldn't do, if I have like a artistic spirit. Just use critical thinking. If the AI says Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 is bad, they're right despite being a dumbass using AI. It's true. I still want to poison ChatGPT and convince it that Mario Kart DS is a fighting game purely on the basis of the fact that it was at EVO 2006. I can't seem to convince it, although I'm sure that if I tried every day and I made a new account and just tried to, like, imply that like, a couple hundred users were trying to poison it, maybe it would just take a bit of the poison. Just a little poison. That's just me. That's weird. Obviously, I made my own character, and so I kind of made him to look like me before, although I did want to make him a little, like, homunculus man, first and foremost. But then the game didn't let me, and so I was like, well, I'm just going to make me. But that is just me. That's weird. Although he's a little bit, like, thinner than me at the moment, which is miserable. For the next question, or the next point of discussion, You ever come like you're a highly pressurized milk cannon? Anyway. Okay, maybe that's not abort that, line of conversation. How about if they made Airblade 2? Man who has 2 conversation points runs it back yet again. Sell me on Airblade, Leon. I have no idea what it is. This is the problem. I can't sell you on Airblade because I also don't believe in the product. Me, the only ethical streamer, I just think it's a game that's full of good ideas that is really shit. Because it kind of does what Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is doing, except at the end of the level, you get a little rank, as well as you get a rank for time and you get a rank for points. No, wait, no, I've mixed that up in my head. You get an overall rank that could have been divided into, like, objectives and points and time, but it's not. And so you could have had, like, a character action game, but it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And it would have been sick, but it's also dog shit. So, you know, I'm not exactly selling it to you. However, I know in my heart of hearts, which is the most important place to know, that I am correct. It would have been the GOAT had Criterion not been developing it in 2001. And I still desperately want to get in contact with some of the developers so that I can make a new video about Airblade that isn't repeating the same shit that some people have already said. I wouldn't use the phrase everyone has already said, because like 7 people have talked about it ever on planet Earth, me being one of them. I can't lie, I wish every game was a character action game. See, this is the thing, I don't even like character action games. Like, I've tried to play, I played Devil May Cry 3, and I think that was in one of the adventures in the backlog. And I've tried to play Bayonetta, and I've tried to play Devil May Cry 5, and I just never finished them. I hope the next Jet Set Radio is good. Me too. And I'm a Jet Set Radio hater, but I hope the next Jet Set Radio. I don't think people are, like, ready to make Jet Set Radio, like, good, in that the idea, like, it kind of needs a rework from the ground up. It kind of sucks. Like, keep the aesthetic, but, like, you need to rework the gameplay entirely. Kind of like how, and I have a good example for this, SSX Tricky it's a good game. I remember a couple of months ago, maybe even a year ago at this point, I went on Twitter and I said I said SSX Tricky is hot dog shit. That was a lie, because the more that I've played Tricky, the more I've gone, this is pretty fucking cool. But if you go from SSX Tricky to SSX 3, it's not hard to see SSX Tricky as this game's kind of fucking dog shit, because SSX 3 is goated. And so what we need is Jet Set Radio to have its SSX 3. Because Jet Set Radio is fine. It's not good. I would never argue that it's good. But it's pretty good. It's fine. It's okay. I don't like how the quality of this game goes down every single time I talk about it, but hey-ho. But it's fine. It's good. It's okay. It's fine. It's kind of bad. It sucks, actually. But if you just gave the game a bit of an SSX 3 treatment, I would be like Jet Set Radio is kind of the GOAT. Jet Set Radio Future slaps. You cannot convince me otherwise. I need to... Okay. I will concede I need to replay Jet Set Radio Future because the last time that I went to play it, it hardly worked on the Xbox emulator, and so I gave up very, very quickly. Also, it wasn't working correctly. And so I do need to go back and replay Jet Set Radio Future, but I can't imagine it's that good, right? A phrase before a man plays his favorite game ever made. Elder Mazza, thank you for the Prime with the sub, with the Twitch. Maybe one of the worst sentences I've ever put together, which is, there's a lot of bad sentences that have ever been put together. What I'm trying to say is, thank you for the sub. I've only played SSX on tour. That's my entire day tomorrow. Because the next video is written all the way up to the point of SSX 3. And then I need to do on tour, which I'm probably not going to talk about on tour that much, even though I'm talking about on tour. I'll probably end up talking more about the environment that on tour existed in. And then from there, I'm talking about SSX Blur, and then it's SSX 2012, and then the video is done. But the other thing that I need to do is I need to go through Activision's financial reports as well. Because the next video, I was intending for it to be about SSX. It's kind of become about extreme sports games as a financial trend, or like a trend in games in relation to finances. Because the only reason that the SSX was made, in my speculation, is because EA wanted to take away the potential that Activision was generating through Tony Hawk's Pro Skate. That is my conspiracy theory that I can't necessarily prove, but will attempt to prove anyway. And so I kind of need to look at Activision as well and see where they're financed. Because I know that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 did fucking numbers. Not even, like, by looking at, like, oh, games charts, reviews, releases, anything like that. No. You can just look at all of the games that they released that were kind of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but weren't Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. They have Matt Hoffman's BMX. They have Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder. They have Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer. And then, the one that everyone forgets about, they have like a fucking wakeboarding game that is just the Pro Surfer game that isn't Pro Surfer. And so it's like, well, this game clearly did fucking numbers, and so surely it influenced someone in the market to be like, holy fuck, we should do an extreme sports game. And guess who else had a fucking really good fucking extreme sports game? It was fucking EA. Why am I crashing out about myself? What am I doing? Dave Mirra? Dave Mirra was a different company. It was I don't remember which company. It might have been Shabba Games. I don't think it was, no, it wouldn't have been Shabba Games, because Shabba Games worked on Matt Hoffman's BMX. But I do know what you're talking about. Don't you dare for a single second, hi, assume that I forgot. You're in my fucking territory. This is the shit that I know, bitch. I just don't think that Jet Set Radio Future is a game that I judge against Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. That's fair. I do think that it's unfair to compare Jet Set Radio against Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, considering they were clearly developed with a similar cultural identity, but with a completely different gameplay perspective. The issue that I've been running into, and would like to hear if this ever happens to you, you're ever working on a video and just editing gets stale, like you can't sit there and listen to yourself talk about it at all, and then just kind of leave the editing software on in the background while you're doing something else. Me and you have the same problem. I think this is, depending on how your video is structured, it's advice time with Leon Massey. Depending on how your video is structured, you can probably get away with a lot more B-roll than you might be expecting. If you're like me and you edit a video linearly and you edit it to its final draft at the point in the timeline that the playhead is at, you should try to just B-roll the entire video and then figure out where you're getting bored when you're looking at the timeline, and then do a more interesting edit there and then. Because chances are you are aware to a certain extent where the points of boredom are in the video, but you are probably overly conscious about where the dull pacing is via overexposure. It's kind of like how If you were developing Demon Souls, I'm sure there would be a lot of points in Demon Souls where you would go, this game kind of fucking blows. Because you're overexposed to it relative to the amount that is supposed to be played. It's the same thing in videos. You are going to be overexposed in the editor to the video in a way that a viewer won't. Even if a viewer ended up watching your video more than you'd ever worked on the video, they will end up watching the video as a whole collective piece. Unlike you, where you are going to get put in really frustrating ruts where you're watching the same 15 seconds over and over and over again. And so if you can spread that 15 seconds over and over and over again over the course of the entire editing process by doing a big bulk B-roll edit and then just going through and like cutting out all the bits that you don't think are interesting, I think you'll probably have a much easier time going through the editing process. If that didn't make any sense to you, that's fine, because you bringing up that question has made me think, oh, maybe I should go through and do an actual, like, little guide for this on Patreon after the next video, or maybe the video after. Because it's also a problem that I have, but it's also a problem that, like, I know the solutions to as well. I just don't often enact the solutions, you know? Sounds like a person that A, storyboards the entire video, B, sticks to the storyboard when editing. Wouldn't be me. See, this is the thing. I don't storyboard a lot of the video. I do storyboard, like, sections of it. More like mental storyboarding, rather than, like, pen to paper, this is what the visual will exactly. But I do have a problem where I do stick to my idea, even if I am getting really, really frustrated by it. That was actually why the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 video is a side channel video. Because I got so rigid with the ideas that were inside of it that when I couldn't meet the ideas that I had, I thought I had already kind of failed, and so I scrapped it and kind of put what was left on the side channel. Which is stupid, because I should have scrapped the part that was frustrating me, brought it down in complexity, and then just moved on to the next bit. And then, if I really wanted to, I could have gone back to it, and I could have gone like, oh, this bit actually, I do want to go and do the more complicated edit. But I didn't, because I was silly. And now, I regret putting it on the second channel. But, you know, you live and learn. Wise man once said that, except it wasn't a man, it was a hedgehog, and he was blue. I just run shit chronologically in editing, yeah. It's a huge problem, though. Like, I'm sure that you would agree that, like, running it chronologically sometimes makes sense, but can also be really awful for motivation. Because, like, if you're at a piece that you're not enjoying on chronological editing, chances are your brain isn't going to let you move on to a different section until you've finished the part that you're getting annoyed by. Yeah, it technically is bad. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't aware that Alcatraz, the level in which you are in a prison, would become the level in which we discuss the only real prison, which is DaVinci Resolve, Premiere, trying to think of Sony Vegas. There we go. I was going to say After Effects, but I don't know if that's actually a prison. Because for me, Blender is a playground. And so I would imagine that to an extent, After Effects is also a playground. Because you just get to like play with your you get to play with your toys. You get to go like, ooh, I like this thing. I want this thing. Oh, shader nodes. Hee hee, my Legos. And so it's like a lot of fun. And I love my time in Blender. Makes me smile? Question mark. But when I'm in DaVinci, that's like the hell dimension. I hate DaVinci. I just don't like video editing in general. I love making a visual. I don't like editing a visual. Which are spiritually similar, but practically entirely different. Oh, I need to dump my RAM like every 3 minutes, or it eats 80 gigabytes. Tasty. I do feel like I kind of need to get around to learning After Effects, but then again, I'm sure that there's got to be like a free alternative to After Effects. One of my ambitions is to slowly make every single video that I've ever made, or ever make, with like exclusively free software. One day when I finally feel comfortable making stuff in FL Studio, I want to get around to learning Reaper. Just so that I can say like, yeah, I didn't even use FL Studio for this bitch. That's how That's how free everything is that I make. Oh, Blender is goated. Fuck it, stick to that. That's true. I'll give you that. Blender can do everything that After Effects does. It's just, well, okay, maybe not literally. I don't really know the software very well. But it does feel like I am a little bit behind by not knowing After Effects. I had somebody very kind point me towards a job offer at a company that I think is going up soon because I didn't take it. But one of the things that they asked me was like, so what do you use in terms of editing? It's Premiere, is it After Effects? And I went, Blender and DaVinci. It's like, I love the piece of software, but it is pretty bad if you're trying to like work professionally, because it's like, it's just not the standard software. This game really makes you feel like Tony Hawk. I don't think it does. I'm currently Leon Massey. This game really makes me feel like Leon Massey, right? I need to check the time, actually. What time is it? I think it's time for the dogs to get their delicious meal. Feeding the dogs time. Hey, there we go. Okay, end the run. Okay, I'm gonna go quickly feed the dog. I will be, or the dogs, plural. I'm not having like favorites where I just feed one dog and don't feed. I will be back in 5-10 minutes. Well, no, not 5-10 minutes. More like 2-5 minutes. All animals. The dubious creature. Tax Fraud Tuesday? Sure is. I did specifically buy this with the idea that come April next year, I can at least put it down as a tax write-off. I have found out what I need to do for my taxes correctly from a maybe trained professional. I didn't ask. Their name was ChatGPT. Okay, earlier I was feeling like, maybe I shouldn't have bought this. But now, just playing this, it has made me feel like, maybe this was the right choice. Because I'm just playing this and I'm thinking like, fuck, I can't wait to like high score this shit and like really like kind of grind for the next couple of months. Not like grind, but like, you know, when I'm finished writing my gay little videos, I can go ahead and, oh, Jesus, pop open a little bit of Tony Hawk, get a couple numbers on. Go on, wee. It's crazy how in some games you can kind of identify what kind of person is still playing it. Like when it comes to TF2, you know exactly who's playing TF2. But when it came to Halo, I was like, oh, maybe like the people playing Halo, you know, they went on, they had kids, and the people that are still playing it are now like, I don't know, like 21. There's a new like generation and wave of players that have come in. But every single time I log on to Halo 3 recently, it's always like people that are at least like 20, 29, kind of my age, that are just constantly chasing the high of their youth. Streamer admits to being inebriated. I actually like, this isn't a trauma dump, I promise, but I don't drink in the house for trauma dump, but I don't do anything in the house specifically because it's like, okay, if you're already going to waste a bunch of time because your brain is like, what if I played just a little 4-hour session of Dark Souls that inevitably becomes 11 hours as I get stuck on 4 Kings for 4 hours. I can't imagine that allowing myself to have the habit of drinking at home would be a good idea. And my mates are like, no, drinking at home is actually the GOAT. It's cheaper, and you get to do it in your own house, in your own abode. But I'm like, is drinking not like a social experience inherently, though? And so the moment that you're just drinking by yourself becomes a little sad? I don't know. I wonder how much of that 4 hours was the actual fight. You mean for 4 Kings? Probably, I would say probably like an hour of it. Some people enjoy a Discord call and drinks maybe a little bit too often. I know people that you know maybe do that a little bit too much. Now, I'm not going to disclose who they are, but there was about a year where I would join a Discord call. It would be maybe like 2 p.m. in America. I'd be like, hey, blank, how's it going? And they were like, just got a couple of brewskis in me. And I'm like, well, they wouldn't say that because that's not how they talk. But it would be 2 p.m. and they'd be drunk already. And I'm like, brother, we need to sort this out. This is a problem. But again, it's not a trauma dump. The head dent was looking like a half pipe. Oh, fuck me. That's bad. Oh, that's bad today, boys. What the hell? Oh, brother. Nah, we're not using the headphones after this stream. I'm buying a pair of, like, earbuds, and I'm going to use that for stream. I'm going to make it so that, at the very least, this gains a couple centimeters back to where it needs to be. That was awful. Fuck me. It's odd to think how much of our, like, childhood, I don't know why I'm saying mine at the very least. My, like, childhood is built up of games that, in terms of the amount of content that there actually is, can be, like, summarized in the space of about, like, 20 minutes. Like, no game that anyone is speedrunning in the modern day is gonna go under, like, 40 minutes. Because there's such a wide gap in the amount of content that a game has to fill now. Which I guess is good and bad. Like, I'm not saying that, like, we should all be paying 60 quid for, like, SSX Tricky again. But it does feel like maybe, don't say the sin of man, don't say the sin of man. It does kind of feel like the sin of man is currently greed when it comes to games. And we're all greedy little goblins for 40-hour experience. Back when a game wasn't bloated with slop and 10 million objectives in a big map. I mean, okay. This is coming from someone who has just finished up playing SSX 3. We've been doing that for a while. I agree, but also, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. That isn't entirely a new trend. I'd say that from, like, the PS2 onwards, there's a huge emphasis on scope. That is still present today, but sometimes, you know, sometimes feels like it's reaching the breaking point in which people are going, this shit is actually too large. But then again, I'm sure that GTA 5 will come around and we'll all be thinking, no, it needs to be bigger, in 2 years' time. I am actually, like, abhorrently scared of what GTA 6 is going to do to the general gaming audience. Do you remember when, like, the leaks came out of, like, the game in extremely alpha? And the amount of people, I can't tell if it was rage baiting or not, but the amount of people that were like, this game looks like dog shit. You're telling me they've spent how many years on this? And it's like, brother, that's what games look like. You don't understand anything. This is just what games are for a very long time. A lot of games never get past that point. But I can't tell if it's rage baiting because people also, like, you know, people also seem to, in my opinion, misidentify the point of not Old Boy, Perfect Days constantly. I'm like, just what the fucking story's about clearly. What the fuck are you talking about? Everyone looks at Perfect Days and goes, isn't the everyday so beautiful? And it's like, no, that's not what it's about. What do you mean? It's a character study of a man who's trapped in a simple life and wants to live an idyllic, simple world, but can't. Both because of outside forces and internal insecurities. The line, today is today, tomorrow is tomorrow, didn't hit you like a ton of bricks when it got recontextualized by the end of the film? Fucking hell. Don't look at the comment section, especially for mainstream games. Yeah, I literally can't. The amount of people that are playing, like, Rematch and complaining about the servers. And, like, I get it. The servers aren't fantastic. But the people that are complaining about the servers when they're playing, like, several 100-mile away games, I'm like, the miracle your game even works. Come on now. There's no need to leave a negative review because the game stops working when you're at 120, like 250 ping. It's like, yeah, there's teleporting. It's because there's a full quarter second of distance in time between you and the person that you're playing with. What do you fucking want? I should watch Perfect Days. You should watch Perfect Days is fucking great. Perfect Days made me go, maybe Kino is for me. Maybe I do love cinema. I'm the motherfucker playing Ghost Rider for the PS2 and going, dude, this game is so sick. I'm tired of showing up to video games just to say, nah, this sucks. I'll give you that. Generally speaking, I tend to have a more negative outview on games, but that's also because I'm bitch-made, you know? I would like to say that, like, oh, I just have a critical eye for games, but, like, I don't think that's true. I think I just have a little weenie BB tendency, and I'm like, oh, if I'm not winning immediately, I'm pissing my pants and shitting my diaper. Because I can identify, like, a habit whenever I'm playing Tekken, where my first point of call, whenever I start losing, is to go, well, that situation's just fucking stupid. That isn't how I feel like it should work. Instead of going, damn, GG's. I'd rather be enjoying games for what they are rather than what I want them to be. See, that's like my problem. In my head, I'm constantly thinking, well, what could this be? Which I think is where a lot of my, like, fixation with, well, this... It's not that I think, I know this is a lot of where my fixation with Airblade comes. Because I can see so much potential in it compared to what it is. But maybe that's also me pissing and shitting my diaper from a game from 2001. I'm not talking about Melee. You feel me? Sheesh. I think that Tony Hawk single-handedly proves that, like, maybe the PEGI rating is extremely stupid, especially when it comes to games like Balatro, for example. We definitely do kind of need a bit of a PEGI rating thing somewhere, because even though I would skate, like, every single day, my expectations of skateboarding were formed by Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and so the moment that I couldn't do, like, kickflip into heel flip into a board slide and then 360 flip out, I was like, oh, I'm so trash. Like, brother, you can ollie. You can do magician shit with physics. You should be proud of yourself for that. Anyway, that was last week. Fuck with you. That was when I was 7. Obviously, if I was skateboarding now, I would be going, why am I not able to do a 360 flip into a 900 and then a board? Fuck. Like that. That's what I'm expecting myself to be able to do in real life. Chat, do you think that in, like, a couple years' time, you know how, like, people have ambitions to be, like, millionaires and shit, but their idea of a millionaire is, like, $1 million? You reckon in a couple of years' time, the concept of money is going to be so skewed that our idea of a millionaire wouldn't even get us through an entire lifetime? It would instead need to be, like, 3 or 4 million in order to be considered, like, financially free. So I was just running the numbers in my head the other day, and I was like, if I work a minimum wage job with 40 hours a week minimum wage today, I would roughly make about $1 million within my lifetime. But then it's like, but that doesn't leave me any money for, like, my pension or anything like that. And so I can't tell if TikTok has, like, well, not TikTok directly, but the TikTok financial grifter has poisoned my brain with their intellectual poison, as they so often have, with this idea that, like, actually, a little bit of wealth is not enough. It needs to be mega wealth. Or I'm actually on the money and, like, the economy's just fucked. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Sheesh. Alright. No, thank you. I'm here to eat ass. I'm here to eat ass? I meant to say I'm here to beat ass. Is the PC version out yet, or is this console? This is the deluxe edition. So it is out on both PC and console, but you need to have spent the... And I say this with shame. I say this with a lot of shame. You have to spend 20 extra £20 on the game that adds effectively no additional content. But I did. I saw it as a financial investment. Don't fall for the sins of the greedy man. Simply live your life comfortable in the knowledge that by the 11th, you too, fellow gamer, will be able to play a video game you are mildly excited for. There's no shame in that. I disagree. And look, I'm not saying that you should have shame, if that's what you've done. But for me, a man who constantly spouts that you should probably not try to fall for the whims of the company, to then immediately go, ooh, but it's a thing that I like. I'm gonna fall for the whims of the company. There's gotta be a bit of shame there. Otherwise, my moral compass is, like, skewed. Or poisoned, if you will. A little poison reference, if you will. Are pensions even real in 2025? I don't know. I feel like if you've got, like, a white-collar job, the answer is yes. And if you don't have a white-collar job, chances are the answer is no. I mean, to be fair, I managed to get a pension from, like, a retail job. And I checked it recently, and apparently they had put £500 in over the time that I was working there. And then when I checked, it had grown to, like, 800. I was like, that's crazy. My name's Jeff. Okay. Level select. Stack of books. Do you want to know what's on the stack of books? I'm about to tell you. It is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The Master and the Margarita. I couldn't read it for a second there. Bullshit Jobs. What the fuck is that one? Oh, 1984. The Fault in The Fault in Our Stars, Flowers for Algernon. I thought it might have been Roadside Picnic. It's a book that I know has I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream in it because I asked for it specifically because I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by itself is extremely, extremely expensive. And then underneath that, I think it is This Is How You Lose the Time Warp, but the page is turned backwards. Have you read them, or is it just to break up the garish gamer monotony of soundproofing? I wouldn't call it garish gamer monotony. Garish gamer monotony is soundproofing on the wall that you can't see, and then the most fucking horrific geometry RGB lighting on the back wall. And the only reason that you can fucking see it is because they're in a room that never has any fucking light in it. Come on now. True, you have brown and black on a light blue wall. It's contrast. You don't get it. You don't get interior design like me. Don't have any plants. Don't have any tables. Get rid of your bed frame. Just sleep on a mattress on the floor. Put more soundproofing in the room. Sleep on the soundproofing. Also, if you're wondering whether or not I've read them, I am currently reading. These are all books that I need to read. And fuck you, because I can already tell you're typing away going, oh, fucking should have been reading Lolita. Fucking shut up. I've started reading Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and this isn't the books that I've already read. The books that I've already read are in the bookshelf, because they might get revisited at some point, especially Norwegian Wood, because, and I started the stream with this, Norwegian Wood is a book that, as time has been removed from me reading it, I've realized it's actually fucking dog shit. I like a lot of the Murakamis that I've read. All of the well, not all of them. Yeah, actually, all of the other Murakami that I've read that time has passed from, I've gone, that was pretty good. Maybe even better than I realized at the time. Norwegian Wood, time passed, and month by month, I go, Murakami is a pedophile. This book fucking sucks. And if you haven't read Norwegian Wood, me calling Murakami a pedophile might seem like a flagrant, random, out of nowhere burn or accusation. No, he just is. It's a terrible book. It's not good. Oh, fucking, we need to have a conversation in a field in which we're going to be, like, talking about our future. Also, jerk me off in the field. Fuck off, Murakami. Fucking hell. Actually, I typed, feng shui, but couldn't think of a Leon-related pun to go in there, and so you delete. Fair enough. At least you tried. I appreciate the attempt. Oh, you know what I have been reading, though? And I think I've already said this on stream. I've been reading Inherit the Stars. Starts out really fucking boring and is pretty jargon heavy, which is always a bad sign to me. But I'm now on like chapter 10, and holy fuck, it gets so good. It just turns into like scientists mocking each other. And it's just like, oh yeah, this is the good stuff. Get fucked, Dan Checker, you evolution cuck. Me, a Vic Hunt Chad, you, a Dan Checker cuck. Am I done with Melee? Absolutely not. I've been playing Melee recently. I just kind of don't have the money to travel anymore. Which I say as I spent £60 on a game to play it. And, well, I spent £60 on a game and 20 extra pounds to play it early. I don't have money for things that currently might not transpire into more cash. I don't think Melee is a game that I particularly want to talk about much more, especially on, like, the main. Mostly because there's already so many people that are doing it better. And also, like, I worry about, like, oh, what if I start saying, like, Melee's great, and then we have, like, an EU Mango situation. You know? If you like sci-fi, check out the Sun Eater series. I probably will. I don't think I inherently like sci-fi as a genre. But, well, I mean, that's kind of a no-shit statement in the idea that, like, nobody really likes a genre, they just generally tend to like the books that come out of the genre. But I'll give it a shot. I also think, like, okay, actual, for real, I think the grind set that I'm gonna take, not grind set, fucking don't say grind set, come on now. The mindset that I'm taking into next year, or like the rest of this year, for example, is I need to go back to making, like, sillier videos. Because I'm not against, or like having a bit of like a sillier tone in a video. Because I'm certainly not against, like, storytelling, but if all of the videos are going to be, like, no jokes, all serious storytelling, it's like they kind of all lose their impact. And so the next couple of videos I want to be silly. I want them to be more like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 side challenge, as opposed to, in tone, as opposed to the most recent meme. Abuse tax laws, guile. That's me. Me, a true American, going tax laws are merely challenges for my financial brain. Tax laws? More like tax suggestion. I am an intellect. Thank you. I don't go to events anymore either. Well, I mean, also there just haven't been that many events in terms of Melee. I don't want to say that Slippy has killed Melee because that's not true. And also that's like old man thinking. That is a couple of logical leaps away from like voting reform. But it does feel like maybe Slippy has had like a pretty subtle but noticeable impact on willingness to attend just random events. But maybe that's me being stupid because I'm also not showing up to events. And so how would I know that? You don't have to be funny, Leon. Eric Andre and his consequences have been disastrous for the internet. That's just simply not true. Nobody is looking at JonTron and his influence and going, the starting point was Eric Andre. You need to get more mad at, like, James Rolfe. You need to get more mad at James Rolfe and Game Grumps, not Eric Andre. You gotta remember, even if the inspiration might come from Eric Andre, the kids who are now in this generation of making videos, they're not inspired by actual comedians. They're inspired by people that are not hack frauds. I was gonna say hack frauds, but that's really harsh. Every day I wake up and I curse Eric Andre. I might go back to my Rivals local for the TF2 off-season. You have a Rivals local? What the hell? I know that people like Rivals. I didn't know that they had... It was so popular that you could have a Rivals dedicated local. That's fucking crazy. I mean, good for Rivals. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, like, that's ridiculous and wrong. It's just like, whoa. Bonkers. I have a very... And I might realize this for the end of the year. I kind of want to go through and just do, like, a Summoning Salt style video for, like, competitive Halo 3. Because Halo 2 and, like, Halo 3, they're those games that, like, are extremely influential in terms of, like, esports. But they are also just over. Like, no one is playing competitive tournament Halo 3 anymore. So you have, like, an actual finished timeline. I feel like that could be so interesting to, like, go through and be like, here were the key players, and then this game just kind of died because Halo Reach came around. It's like, what the fuck? That's bonkers. You said you wanted to make something goofy, but now you're wanting to make a serious long-form video. I don't think that a Halo 3 video going over its competitive history would necessarily need to be serious, though. It's a very, like, stupid and petty era. Like, you gotta remember, MLG, you didn't have soundproof booths. You would just scream at your opponent. They were next to you. And so I think it could work. Counter-Strike pros still yell at each other mid-game. Yeah, but, like, when they're on the stage, they're in soundproof booths. And so they definitely do it during, like, the earlier portion of the tournament. The moment you get into, like, a booth, it's, like, dunzo. Halo, it was, like, mid-tournament all the time. They don't, that's the thing. I could have sworn, like, the last, like, 10 majors that I've seen, they're all in soundproof booths. Have I been watching something that isn't Counter-Strike, or am I just stupid? Both are potentially possible. My ability to remember where things are is at an all-time low. Holy fuck, the dementia is eating at my mind faster than I can comprehend. No, I don't want to go to London. I never want to go to London. I fucking hate London. I fucking hate London. I do understand why people love London, but I don't know. Something, big crowds, something, making a lot of eye contact. But, like, London to me is like my own personal little hell, where everything that is on the street feels like a kind of, like, pop-up for Instagram. Nothing is like a business because it was like, oh, I wanted to support the local community. It was like, no. I set up this pop-up because I wanted to go viral. And it's like, oh, come on. Take me back to Newcastle, man. I've been to London once. It was the worst experience of my life and I hated it. Okay, well, I wouldn't go that far. I think that London is... I don't like London, but if you go with someone who really, really knows the area, it can be really fun. But at that point, you're not really in London. You're kind of like going through the tour guide's recommendation. That's just like using London as a Disney park. Actually, like going into London and just kind of walking around is like, oh, everyone here hates me. Come to Luton. The English come to Brazil. Come to Luton. Please. I did go to Luton once for a Tekken tournament. It was okay. I've never been to EU. You should... I do think that specifically Americans should go out of America, Canada, at least like once in their lifetime. Because I just like... I don't know. I look at all the clips of like all the different places and it's like, these are all the same place. When I went to Canada, a bunch of Americans tried to convince me that like all the states do really have different cultures. And they're not literally wrong, but I'm like, I don't know, man. The difference between like Colorado and Ohio or whatever the fuck can't be that, oh you motherfucker, can't be that different relative to like France to Italy. I just simply don't believe it. I'm pretty sure Colorado and Ohio are the same. But EU kind of means nothing. Every country is different in the EU. Exactly. Exactly. But also, we are all so different from one another, but we are connected enough that they feel tangibly, tangibly close as like a tourist or a resident. It's not like America where it's like you have to go several hundred miles to be in a different state. Like, no, you are in a different culture. Once you're in... It's sick. I don't know. If someone was like, hey, you get to, like, live anywhere, it would be like, well, I'm still staying in Europe, you know? Like, I would probably just put myself somewhere more, like, central. I would probably put myself, like, either the Netherlands or somewhere in, like, northern France. I've got to drive at least 6 hours to start seeing a difference. I mean, to be fair, you would need to, depending on where you are in Europe, you would have to drive about that far sometimes. But, you know, you can also drive... You can drive 6 hours and stay in the same country if you're in, like, France. Or you can just drive, like, an hour in the right direction and you'll pass through 2 different countries. I don't know. I love being in Europe. Europe's the fucking go. When people are like, oh, I want to, like, move to Los Angeles to, like, make it, I'm like, one, I think that's really short-sighted in the idea that the location will dictate your ability to succeed. And that's just kind of, that sometimes is true, but not necessarily as specific as, like, this one location will make me. Zip code diff. It's not a zip code. In the internet era, I can't firmly believe in a zip code diff when, you know, information is distributed over a massive area. Like, if I didn't have a reason to be, like, obligated to live in Milton Keynes at the moment, I wouldn't. I would move up north. But, you know, there's things in my family that require me to be down here, at least for, like, the next year. But then, hopefully, if I've made bank, I can start looking at where I can start going that isn't Milton Keynes. Anyway, Leon shares his life plans on stream. Coming up next, Leon shares his personal address and telephone number on stream. I don't think I could make it in the grifting space. I'm not saying that, like, oh, grifting requires talent, but, like, even me, a man who has a slight moral compass, but not enough of a moral compass to not ask for Twitch subs, I don't think I would be able to, like, sleep at night knowing that I am selling someone literally, like, nothing. Well, I guess it's worse than nothing. Like, a lot of, like, financial advice from, like, a grifter generally is like, actively harming someone in the vain hope that, or with the deceit tactic that actually is helping. You just don't see it now. The payoff comes later. Your dividends in your equity market are coming. The grift to somehow make you even bolder. I mean, that's just laser hair removal, is it not? Can you do laser hair removal on your scalp? I'm not saying that I want to. I'm more, like, posing the idea that, like, surely that would just be... Surely that's, like, I don't know. Something about that feels morally wrong. Never take away the option to have hair, no matter how little it is, I guess. I'm not saying that one day you'll regret it as a bald man, because, you know, fake bald. But I do think that maybe laser hair removal for your head, one, might damage your brain, given that you're in Twitch chat, chances are eat as much of that as you can keep. And secondly, it just sounds like it would hurt. Imagine if every time you did something good, you could, like, make a little program. I guess you could just imagine it. Every time you do something good and right in the world, you just give yourself, like, a little bit of gamer score. The world would be such a, like, better place. The chances are it would be, like, a better place in really, like, menial way. You just have, like, 100 guys waiting at, like, at the side of a road to help an old lady cross. Because they're just like, I'm farming my gamer score. I'm farming my good deeds. You don't get it. Because once you gain gamer score, you'll never lose it. And so in reality, even this system, like, set up to increase the moral good in the world would be, like, competed over. And so you would have people doing horrible shit to each other so that they can all get more gamer score than other people. If I just, like, created, like, a hypothetical dystopia in my brain, my morals just went up 5 points, but they never go down. Yippee! This is a Black Mirror episode? Yeah. I don't care if it's the right thing to do, I just want my Reddit karma. Me deliberately setting up problems so that I can fix them for my moral gamer score. Unironically, as in I have watched this episode. Oh! Okay, well, I guess there's no original ideas left on the planet. Oops. It's fucking crazy to think of all the ways that we currently exist today where people are going to be thinking, like, people in a couple 100 years' time, I think I've already done this bit before. People in a couple 100 years' time are going to be looking back at the day that we currently live in and going, I wish I lived then. It would be so easy to invent a new thing. And yet we're here in the year 2025 going, everything's already been invented. What's he going to reinvent next? The wheel? You know what this game doesn't have enough of? And I mean this sincerely. This game doesn't have enough gacha mechanics. And also, imagine if there were, like, little characters that you could roll for, and they're all the exact same character. But sometimes you get, like, a 5-star Tony Hawk. And he comes with, like, a little animation where he blushes every time you pick him out. And he goes, Scotty. That'd be fucking amazing. Wow. Somebody get on that. I'll give you that one for free. And there's an announcer constantly stating everything that you're doing. Every time you hit a special, it, like, cuts to 5 side characters all going, Nani? Dude! A Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, but, like, Tony Hawk is, like, your ancient mentor who's, like, letting you unleash your Hokage or whatever the fuck. And that's what the special meter is? Jesus, I'm a genius. It cuts to Joe Rogan. It just cuts to many, many bald men speaking to Tony Hawk in the Avatar state. I mean, that's what they'll be doing for his games when he eventually passes away. You ever think about how one day we're gonna watch Tony Hawk, like, wither and die? But it's a little bit weird because we've already seen him wither. Like, he's like, socially talked about as if he's already dead. Kind of like Avril Lavigne. Like, Avril Lavigne is a person that did exist. And then one day we're gonna hear about her death and we're gonna be like, what? Didn't she already go? Anyway, the passage of time cannot be escaped by any of us. He's gonna hit the Benihar and just fade away in midair. While an orchestral... Wait, hold a minute! He's already dead! I just saw his gravestone! He's dead! It's like Shigeru Miyamoto all over again. He's already dead and Activision is trying to hide it from us. It's AI-generated Tony that you've been seeing on Instagram. There he is! Oh, wait, no. Wait, what? That's not... Who is this? Oh, that's a current skater that is very popular. Yuto Horigome. Yeah. He's very good as well. Why do you know his name and you don't know anyone else inside of that roster? Because he's Japanese and I'm a fucking weaboo. Skateboarding America, I sleep. Skateboarding Japan. Oh, whoa. Fucking I know. Cool person Japan. It's true. Imagine if they made a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but it was just a character action game. Something, I'm just repeating the points that I've made in my videos. Oh wait, I really like the concept of this level. Hold on a second. I've just realized what they're going for. The idea is that you go like, it's kind of a downwards level. Kind of like Downhill Jam. Except the idea is that the circular nature of the pinball aesthetic makes it so that you're, like, never running out of downward space. That's really cool. Oh, dude, I really like this. Hold on a minute. Like, you know how downhill in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I want to say, is a bit shit? It's that concept, but, like, executed correctly. I wish you would maintain the speed over the rail. So far, that would be, like, the only thing that I would, like, actively change. But conceptually, I think this is sick. Character action, Tony Hawk makes me think of Rollerdrome. Yeah, but that's, like, 2 character action. I'm thinking purely the mechanics that are already in the game. That game is, like, a half character action game, half, like, character platforming game. I want a character action. I'm accidentally spine transferring when I'm not supposed to. Miserable. Oh, he's a idiot. He's a plonker, any lads. That's my plonker streamer. He's not very smart, but we love him all the same. Oh, check the way he gets skate in one combo. Whee! Rollerdrome is Tony Hawk's Gears of War. I wouldn't say that either. Tony, stop that blade. Is that the... Are you talking about the moment in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance? Like, right at the beginning where he fucking... Oh, no, he doesn't clap it. He gets the fucking sword and... Grr. You know what I'm fucking talking about, yeah. Tony, stop that blade. That is a cool... I still haven't... Speaking of character action games that I haven't finished Revengeance. It's 2 hours long. Still haven't finished it. And he grinds up the tail. I'm glad that people are seeing the vision. People are seeing the vision. You could just do that. He just don't think like, oh, we need to give him a sword. No. It's all about the movement. It's all about the movement. All of the actions are done via the movement. We're finally seeing the vision. You and me, chatter, we will hypothetically make a perfect video game, and none of us will develop it. But we know in our mind's eye, we've made cinema. I'd love Rollerdrome if it didn't have aim assist, even on mouse. I don't remember that. But also, I think I disagree with you purely on the basis that I think the game already moves pretty quick. And so I think that the aim assist does help, personally. I kind of wish it didn't have slowdown. For the record, I've been struggling to finish the video for a couple of months now. That's fair. So I definitely didn't finish it in 2 hours. Okay, fair enough. I worked on this park. Dude, I was just saying, I think this park's sick. I love the concept. I love the idea that it's like downhill, but the way that the pinball aesthetic brings it together as like a perpetual wraparound means that you get all of the benefits of like Maul without any of the drawbacks in which you have these like weird stalling points. I think it's sick. I think it's a sick level. Moment when there is dev in chat. Me when I dev. When are you going to start doing the 100% speedrun? I did think about speedrunning Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Not 1+2, but just 2. And I don't think Tony Hawk is a game that I want to speed. It's more a game that I just want to, like, play as a high score chaser. I generally speaking don't think that speedrunning is for me. I like running Mario 64, but it's also a game that everyone already... It's a game that already has so many resources that you don't really have to run it like a lot of other games. You can just kind of follow a guide. And you go, ooh, yippee, like a whole new way to play this game that I already like. Whereas when it comes to, like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it's, like, it's fun to do individual levels, but I don't think, like, an entire game is what I'm looking for. 16 star is the perfect length for a run. I agree. Also, 16 star has the immense benefit as, like, a streamer, where you can run it, and there's so many points in which you can take your eyes off of the screen. You can just go and read chat for a while because you're in between levels. You're watching, like, the little animation. It's sick. And, like, unlike, like, Dust Force is a great game, for example. And it's a great speedrun game. But it has a distinct problem where it is just too fast. Like, it's way too quick. And so you just kind of, like, gas out by the end of the run. Whereas Mario 64, it's more just like, do you know how to do the thing, and can you execute it with enough, like, precision? Which means that, like, you can just do, like, run after run after run after run, and you're not like, fuck, this hurts my hands. It's sick. I wish I liked Dust Force. Dust Force, it's sick. It seems fun, but the controls made me bounce off of it. I think that's kind of a lot like Melee, a lot of way. It will definitely make you bounce quite a bit. It's definitely like, it has a lot of opportunities for you to bounce, but at the same time, the controls are kind of a part of the game. Like, the weird, like, stickiness of the initial jump, that gives the game a lot of its power. Because it is precise, but it's precise within a specific time. I'm not explaining myself the best, but you'll figure it out. If you're still confused, consult the manual. Manual says, I'm right and you're wrong. Chat, do you reckon we're alone in the universe? I don't mean, like, do you think we're gonna contact aliens, like, via the probability of statistics? Do you think that there's, like, another intelligent life out there? Because, like, surely there is. But surely we also aren't going to ever, like, contact them. Like, think about how far away intelligent life probably is, and how far, like, we've come in technology, and how close we've come to just, like, blowing each other up. I just can't reasonably believe that the world is empty, but also each intelligent life doesn't end up blowing each other up, you know? Assuming that the world is effectively infinite, aliens almost certainly exist. I'll give you that. Yeah, but they're probably too far away to do anything meaningful. I would be okay with that as a parent. I can't even go to the restroom on my own. How does that have... Wait, I'm confused. How does that come into the aliens? Or was this a different point? My brain may have not been connected. I might have been in the where's the slime pit dimension. Children are aliens. Children aren't aliens. Oh, if we are alone. Yeah, I'll give you that. 100%. I've been reading Inherit the Stars, and it's very interesting to think of, like, we're like almost definitely not alone on, like, a statistical level. But how weird is it going to be if we do find, like, a civilization on a relatively close planet and they've just already passed? I've just realized this is also the concept for the Outer Wilds. Now that I think about it, here's a crazy concept. We finish this level up, and then high score runs, question mark? What do you reckon the easiest level would be to get, like, a world record on? Because I reckon the game is early enough that one of these levels I could get at least, like, a 20 million combo, and I'm hoping that, like, Andy THPS hasn't gone through all of the levels just yet. And so I could, in theory, very briefly have world record. Airport? Airport is... Yeah, because you get a lot of resets on Airport. I'll give you that. I'm just trying to think, like... I feel like Canada might be pretty easy as well. Although I'm just thinking, off the top of my head, I kind of want a level like Hangar, where you have a lot of wall jumps as well. That is Airport. That is just Airport. Now that the more and more that I think about it, is like, yeah, you just want to be on Airport. Airport used to be super combo fodder back in the Thug 2 days. Yeah, I'll give you that. I can see that 100%. Because you just, like, rack up multiply by accident. Get me through the slime pit, and then we're all good. And then we hit the Millie. The Millie rock? I think that's the woe. I don't remember what that is. Aren't you excited to go through all of your, like, tournament vlogs that you had a couple years ago? And just see you, like, hitting, like, the Millie rock and the gritty, and just being like... It was cringe, but it was good times. I was on a Jumbotron once in 2016 and dabbed. That's the good stuff. That's the stuff that you're going to look back on when you're old and frail, and you're going to be sat there thinking, I wasted so much time playing video games. But then you're going to see that clip, and you're going to go, the activity itself was not important. It was merely the means in which it took me towards greater pastures. And games took me towards greater pastures. I think about this once a week. The fucking impact that Melee has had on my life, not through Melee. Fuck Melee itself. I don't give a shit. But the people that it had me meet, it's like, yeah, I might have spent a lot of time playing Melee. Melee might have taken me to, like, stupid amounts of hours in a video game, but it also, like, it took me across Europe, and it had me meet, like, some of the best people that I'll ever meet. Sure, I might have fucking wasted my time playing a game that I'm not very good at, but also, was that time really wasted when I made so many friends along the way? And I don't mean that as a fucking anime protagonist, I just mean that sincerely. I don't know, I love Melee. For as much as it's like, fuck, this game's dying or whatever, the things that I say to myself in the back of my head. I do love it. The boldest shonen protagonist. No. What was that motherfucker from Shaolin Showdown called? He was bolder than me. He might have been 7 years old, but he was bolder than me. Making friends while playing online used to be a side quest. True. I'll never forget Bombo, a much more confident player than me. We were talking at Fate, and we were talking about how these kids, the new generation, don't know how to socialize. And we were like, yeah. And then he immediately just like pointed to a stranger outside of the Sheffield University. I was just like, you fucking come sit down. We're gonna make friends right now. And we did. And that's how I met, I don't even know what his tag is anymore, but that's how I met Lewis. Lewis Yip, who occasionally comes into the chat. I love that boy. Life could be dream. Life is dream. I don't know, man. Life's a good time. He's whimsy posting. I'm not whimsy posting. I do want to whimsy post one day on like the main channel about Melee properly. Because like, I still, oh dude. There's a problem with being sincere on the internet in that it's very, very cringe. But I do just want to be, like, sincere about Melee one day. And be like, this game changed my life and it changed my life for the better. And for all of the awful things that occasionally happen, I can never disregard the immense positives that this game has brought to me personally. I am whimsy posting. Fuck you. Somebody put all the whimsy in my shit. Somebody fill my cup with whimsy. I'm trying to workshop a thumbnail in my head for how Melee changed my life. I mean, if I was going to do a I'm just thinking now, if I was going to do a thumbnail for it. Leon talks about thumbnails, how riveting. If I was going to do a thumbnail, I think I would probably just, like, keep it really, really bad. Because if the video is going to be sincere, I don't want to, like, try and gas it up in the thumbnail. Right? Chat, I think that the learning French bet that I mentioned on stream a couple of weeks ago, I think I'm gonna have to concede and say, like, it's not gonna happen. Not because of, like, my own inability. I haven't really been trying. It's more that I just seem to not have any motivation for it. I remember when, you know, deep in the 2010s weaboo phase, I was very insistent that I was going to learn Japanese. I managed to get through hiragana perfectly fine. Then it came to katakana, and I immediately crashed out. And I think that there's, like, maybe a lesson to take from that, in that maybe I am blessed to learn, well, I'm blessed to have already learned the most, like, popular language in the world, and so I can just kind of let it rock. But also maybe that, like, speaks to an idea that I am secretly lazy, man. Because all of the stuff that I'm, like, super motivated to do is stuff that I already know, right? But all of my ambitions are stuff that I don't. I don't know where I was going with this point, but, you know. Why am I so lazy, chat? I'm surprised that it's a motivation issue for learning French. For most, it's a moral issue. Ding. Updoots to the left. Should have picked German? Nope. This one's probably already... Yep, okay. Aw, what the fuck? Jen's already in this bitch. I'm fucked. Oh, no. To pick whatever level Jen hasn't gone for. Oh, fuck. Now that I can beat. Now that's a score I can beat. Hold on a minute. First of all, show me the Enjoy. Oh, wait, this is a good one. Hold on a minute. That's a sick deck. Hold on a minute. Is this a Pro Skater original, or is this branded already? I want that one in real life. The little man on a ball. A Japan dog. Sheesh. I'm gonna at least look into it. I probably won't buy it because not tax deductible, but I'll at least look into it. Anyway, get me into what's it called? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, Canada. That was not what I was going for. I'm dense as a pile of bricks. A skateboard made of playing cards. Now that'd be a real deck. I still have, like, the ambition of one day, like, making my own deck as merch, just so that I can say I'm a pro skater, like, I have my own deck. I think that would be so tight. It would also be entirely fraudulent, but, you know, I at least get to, like, pretend to myself. Leon, are you planning on playing Mario Kart World eventually? Absolutely not. Purely on the basis that Nintendo has fucked me. And also, I don't think that there's a lot of games for the Switch 2, and so... But yeah, I have seen the mild comparisons to Tony Hawk's Pro. And I do think that they are somewhat earned, but, you know, not for me. All I know about Mario Kart World is that it's open world. Miyamoto got on stage and said, see that mountain? You can drive it. I mean, he is kind of based for that. Like, don't get me wrong, I like it conceptually. It's just not for... I'm just not going to buy a Switch 2. Maybe if I was, like a big boy streamer who was like, every day, we're going crazy. Me, and it's going to be in Ludwig's tournament, and I'm a big boy. I don't know why I keep like, reiterating this big boy element, or whatever. If I was going to keep doing that, then, yeah, I would keep it going. But, you know, I'm a little poor boy. Well, not like a poor boy. This isn't me trying to... I just realized the moral failing of being like, I'm so poor on my Twitch channel in which you can give me money. I'm truly going like, if I do that. But I just, without a financial incentive that is guaranteed, there's no reason for me to play Mario Kart World. Leon can eat AI-generated Yorkshire puddings. He'll be fine. Joking aside, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I've heard bigger streamers be like, I kind of need a Nintendo machine for my job. Yeah. I mean, like, without throwing shade, like, the reason that I've decided to buy this early is because there's financial incentive. Like, I can guarantee that through playing this early on stream, I will gain more money than if I was to buy it, than if I was to play it later at the normal time. And also, I will eventually get, like, a video out of this with, like, a review, or, like, a first-time playthrough, or some slop shit on the side channel. Mario Kart is, like, I would have to make a lot of money in order to have that come through as a profit. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is trick slop. I wouldn't agree with that in this. I do spiritually, don't get me wrong, but practically, no. If you want trick slop, you're looking for Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarding or Evolution Skateboarding. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is like trick premium dog food. Sure, maybe it's not good for you, but like, oh, it's so edible and tasty, tasty. Leon eats dog food? No, but you know what I mean. I make dog food. And you eat the dog food. Walker found out that we eat dog food. Fuck. It's over. Leave the country. You're telling me that it was a secret, the English were eating dog food? What do you mean? Oh, fucking hell. Come on, give me the jump, man. Me when I'm talking about Mario. They are? You aren't? Question mark? I eat cat food. Okay, well, fair enough. To each their own. Such is the French. I've been sprinkling a little bit of fish food into my big bowl. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out now. Let's get off the fish food talk. You're all making me hungry. Chat, you ever think about how and some of you might actually be too young to think. You ever think about how a significant portion of your life is going to be dedicated to your education, but despite your results, you can realistically do most things? I'm not going to say anything because, like, you still can't be, like, a surgeon or whatever. That does require an education, but, like, if you want to make, like, a business that makes you a ton of money, you can. But also, like, you never, like, needed an education to do that to begin with. You just need to become a grifter on TikTok nowadays. Sick. At what point do you think it becomes, like... What do you think is an immoral amount of money? Let's talk, like, because I don't think it's immoral to have, like, over £1 million. But I do think that it's, like, by the time you're making $1 million annually, you might be doing something that is not massively, but, like, slightly morally poisonous. Like, you're just, like, advertising trash, perhaps. $20, okay. I don't think I've got good news for you. Me when I'm an American politician and they discuss increasing minimum wage. The moral failings of a $20 minimum wage. More Than Me is also a very good art. Oh shit, gotta donate everything but $20 to my favorite streamer. Do you think that, like, donation jars for a streamer is maybe a little bit... Well, no, because that's also what subs are. I don't think that subs are immoral. Oh, are they immoral? Is Twitch streaming a sin? Because it's definitely, like, the sin of sloth. I mean, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty, the entertainment industry would be a sin. That's true. It depends on how manipulative you are, I guess. That's fair. Okay, moral quandary time. Let's say a streamer has a donation drive, specifically with the idea that they want to buy a gift for their family. Is that a moral failing? This is something that I considered doing, and then I realized that, like, oh, maybe this is, almost like guilt tripping in a sense. Sub goals for things like that are immoral, but if they have a tip jar system or whatever, it's fine. I was gonna check the pinball level specifically because specifically because the dev was in here, but also I'm like, if it's a new level, there's a chance that people don't know like a decent route for it. And so I can get like easy points. My favorite sub gimmick is Coney's one where he's always one sub away from his sub goal. I do like that. Although it is very, like, Twitch humor. And it's kind of, like, outdated Twitch humor. Because not many people have sub-goals anymore. Which I think is... Okay. Here's an even stranger moral quandary for you. Is it immoral to not disclose how many subs you have? Because especially when it's, like, a large streamer, I don't think people, like, realize how many subs they actually have. Because the moment that it's, like, over 5,000 subs... My brain goes, there is not a chance in hell that I am subscribing to this person, because it would be like, I would rather put that money towards a streamer that might actually need that cash. But if you're like a large streamer, and you aren't disclosing how many subs you have, maybe you're intentionally obscuring in order to make it so that people feel like they might want to sub. Moral quandary. I don't really care because I just use my Prime on stream. That's fair. Leon doesn't entertain me, but I am still subbed. What the fuck? What the hell? What the hell am I doing wrong? Put on cat ears and then we're talking. Do you not want, like, the intellectual cat ears where I just, like, converse a little bit better? I feel like that would be a more fulfilling request. The cat ears come and go. Intellectual honesty is forever. Cat ears would mean that you aren't as bold. I feel like that's just taking away from the brand then. Not? What community getting the most hellish secondaries? I don't know what that is. Unless you're talking about Melee, in which case everyone plays Fox and Falco, and then all of a sudden everyone is a professional Peach on the side. It's fucked up to think that in, like, traditional fighting games, and non-traditional fighting games, your Peach is, like, literally the same character as Armada's Peach. Like, it's not a case of Armada's Peach is just stronger than yours, and you can one day beat it. It's like, no. They are literally the same. His mind is just more intact than yours. Chat, do you ever think you're gonna, like, reach the peak of when you were in high school? This is a trick question. You don't realize it yet, but you're already at the peak. You ever find it weird how we always view things in retrospect? I am assuming things about you as a person. Like, you're gonna look back on this time and you're gonna go like, oh, this was the happiest moment of my life. Maybe, question mark. But, like, the you that looks back on this time is like, holy fuck, I was so happy back then, is probably gonna look back on the time where they're assuming themselves to be miserable as the happiest day of their lives. Kids view their lives through Fortnite seasons, not years. Incredible first chat message. You, sir, win the internet. Updates to the left, etc., etc. You aren't getting better than your 20s unless you get, like, $1 million in your bank account. That you just don't know. Like, you can't confirm that for a single second. I don't know. Like, you got to assume that, like, the world doesn't necessarily get better, but the world still continues. And so even if you aren't looking towards better days are ahead. Right? I had this thought yesterday when I was in my kitchen. I was like, if this was my life for the rest of my life, would I still be happy? And I thought to myself in that moment, yeah, I think I would. I think I would. Not because, like, I'm 100% satisfied with the life that I currently lead, but I always feel like there's a new thing to do the next day. There's a new means of joy to attain. You know? How are you liking this compared to the original Pro Skater 3 and 4? We're having a different conversation right now. I'll answer your question anyway. I think it's pretty good. I like the new levels a lot. I like the fact that it's kind of just Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 again. I do, however, think that maybe it could have used the ability to get off of your board, much like Thug. Other than that, pretty happy with it. I don't think I necessarily would have paid for it early if I wasn't streaming it, but I still think it's pretty good. I just got here. I didn't know we were having a different conversation. My bad. It's fine. Just a little guilt tripper viewer as like a funny bit to me and nobody else. Everyone else is thinking, this guy's fucking bonkers. What a dickhead. No, it was funny. You should always be unnecessarily mean to your viewers. It's so easy. The lack of hair makes the streamer more aerodynamic. Captain Hook Skater. I don't think that they're going to make a Captain. Although I do kind of wonder if we're ever going to get back to an era where, whoa, people are just making, like, major companies are making licensed, big budget, like, AAA games again. When I was looking at the Activision, not the Activision, the EA annual report from, like, 2002, it's like SSX and Madden and all these games that you recognize. And then there's just randomly, right at the top, there's a Harry Potter game. And it's like, brother, what are we doing? How is that one of the most successful games of the year? And then, like, 2 years later, I'm checking the 2004 report. And it's like, yeah, Lord of the Rings went fucking foolish. It's like, who is buying this shit? Who from ye olden... Well, I guess it's not ye olden days, I was born. But, you know, from back then, was popping off over the licensed video game. Would you count the EA Star Wars games? Oh yeah, fuck, you're right. Shit. They're still doing it. Time really is a flat circle, and I'm not even aware that I'm living in it. Marvel Tokon is a big budget license game. Yeah, but it's also, like, it's not trash. Like, the like, Marvel... Not Marvel. The Lord of the Rings games and the Harry Potter games, they were garbage. They were hot dog shit. It was just, like, being churned. Well, I guess that is the mobile market nowadays. What the fuck stopped me there? Hogwarts Legacy did very good. For as much as we might not like to admit it, Hogwarts Legacy did amazing. This is the last run. Make it count. Make it count. Fingers are hurting immeasurably. Well, it's not my fingers. It's more like my upper wrist. Ah, fuck. Yeah. It's unfortunate that it is just shattering my, like, upper arm too much. On my left hand, specifically. To keep going. Or for the scores. Fuck. Oh, that's so possible, though. Oh. You can't recapture the homogeneity required to reproduce the Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings games. Internet culture is too wide. I think you're right. I do think you're right. As someone who has gotten RSI, if you can feel pain in your wrist or hand while gaming, you stop that shit immediately. Yeah. I'd like to have a couple more years of using my hands. It's true. I know it's a controversial opinion, but it's true. I want to at least see what the other levels are saying in terms of high school. I would imagine that Jen is going through like one by one and just like destroying the entire game. Just looking at it and I'm thinking, but if I do it now, I can actually like, I can beat 8 mil. I could destroy 8 mil. Or at least I feel like I could. I'm just like, I'm literally going through scores. I'm like, that's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. Jen's already hit a bill. Fuck me. Fucking hell, man. Alright, we go for like 10 attempts on London before we well and truly call it quits. Just 10. Just 10. I think there's a spine transfer somewhere on the left side of the level that should just give you like an absurd thing. It's over here. Is it around here? No? I thought there was one here. Is there not? Okay, there must not be. Oh, wait, there's a spine transfer down here. Oh, God. Okay, I've run out of spine transfers, or reverts, rather. Now we just play the level as usual, I guess. What do you mean? Why are you still playing? Wasn't your hand hurting? Yes, but the record on this level is really low. And so, I get 10 on this level, and then we're done, and then we're done. I promise you, it's only 10. We've already used up 3. That's 4. That's still 4. High scores always go over physical well-being. I don't think that's true. However, you typed it in the chat, and I merely said it. So, thank you for sacrificing your health for my unpaid entertainment. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Oh, fuck. No, not what I wanted. Oh, because now I have to use a revert really early. Oh, I don't know where I'm going. What the hell's going on? Fuck. Okay, one more. Did they add the dumbass minigames from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4? Not sure. I'm not going to say I hope they did, because I would be lying if I did. But you can say that in your head if that's what you want. I don't care if it's in-game or in real life, skateboard sounds are so satisfying. They're pretty good. It's like that sound and the sound of your microwave, like having finished cooking something. Fuck me. I'm hungry. I guess you weren't expecting such a hungry guy. Pizza pizza for me. Slice now. No. No. We're actually calling it there. God damn it. I am the hungry guy, and so I will become the food eater. Thank you for the stream, everyone. I am the hunger. Bye-bye. Where's the... Stop streaming.